Hello there. Play it.
The fight is done.
Just hearing his voice again.
I know.
We lost.
His head's too small though.
Again, doing the pod racing.
This is so cool.
So good.
Every time.
It just hits
Give me
different.
chills.
John Williams is the GOAT, that's right. Hello there. Inquisitors.
Jedi
That just looks so good, too.
It does.
is patient.
Inquisitorius.
Cinematic, like just bigger. Love it.
Jedi cannot help what they
Love
are.
Obi-Wan on the public transportation.
Their compassion.
Ooh, I didn't know this one hanging before.
Yeah,
I didn't
brutal.
know
I wonder if they're hanging or if they're like forcing them up
that.
in the
Ooh,
air.
that might
I
be.
don't know. I thought it looked like a public
It did.
execution.
It definitely did.
In Deer of Armor.
He cannot help it.
I love that. It's like
Where
an itch.
is he?
The spin
Gonna get the
sabers,
helicopter
dude.
sabers. His brother.
This trailer's the best. And this
That
trailer's
I love
great.
that.
Now this
entrance
is
right there,
pod
too.
racing. That's right.
Doesn't it feel like he's about to ignite a lightsaber? Right
There's
there,
like
too?
Yeah.
He's looking down like, should I?
there's
What
like
is that?
so
God.
I
much.
think maybe wrapping the baby up.
Yeah.
There's so much in that
Man.
one look of Kenobi without him even saying anything.
It's all there.
There it is.
That's it.
Boom.
Hey, what's up,
Oh,
Force
man.
family? We are so glad to have you guys back with us. We are loaded for bear tonight.
Yes,
I think
we
we
are.
might just run that for the next hour and a half.
We could just
And
do
just
that
keep
if we
throwing
want.
out
Yeah.
comments.
I think that every 5 minutes we replay the trailer.
Maybe. No, we got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about the trailer. We're going to talk about Obi-Wan. Anything you guys want to bring up? We are your hosts again, Mike,
Hello.
Nate.
Hello
and
there.
It's weird when I say
You know him well.
You know me well. How did that came? You just kind of made that up and it stuck.
Well, you know what? It actually originated from the fact that people know you well.
When I showed
And
up
then
for
we
the
just went
first
with
time
it.
and nobody knew who I was,
Nobody knew.
and you know him not.
And people immediately, the first episode
wait, are
Uncle
we
was
supposed
ever
to
on
know?
it, people are like, who is that? I know him well.
Uncle.
We
We're
said
not-
that's going to be our first merch. It's going to be You Know Him Well.
You
And
know
on the
him
back
well.
says Uncle.
Uncle.
I love it.
We're glad you're with us.
So good.
Let's talk.
Yes.
What do you guys
Oh,
got?
welcome.
Well, there's just so much to talk about with this trailer. It's funny that we did. So anyone who's been following our YouTube channel saw our immediate reaction.
Yep.
When we live reacted to it, to our first reaction of watching the trailer, but we haven't done a full deep dive breakdown now after we've sat with it for a little bit. And it's fun to revisit we already can revisit maybe some of our Obi-Wan to see it happens or any of our predictions that we
Yeah.
made that we feel like, ooh, I feel good about this based on this trailer, or I don't know which direction it's
Not
going in.
gonna happen.
There's so much
Right.
to go off of just based off this trailer, but it's amazing that we're actually finally here talking about the trailer that feels like the whole world has been waiting for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Since
We've all waited. We're like,
we've
when's it
been
gonna
talking
happen?
about it
Super
on
Bowl?
the podcast.
It's Disney Plus Day? Whiff.
Yeah, right.
Right.
We've been
Didn't
talking
happen.
about it on the podcast, predicting since the beginning of Boba Fett.
I want to go on record
Yeah.
saying that I was right on the date
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
nobody was watching. I said March 22nd. That was wrong.
It
was way
What I
off.
said.
I was
I
way
remember
off.
like a few weeks ago, the only thing I said was, I think it's coming soon.
I mean,
I think it's coming soon, and then
Could
the
be-
next
could
week,
be
Right.
within the year. or-
Right.
yeah.
yeah,
Coming
week
soon.
later.
No idea.
I still feel like it's coming soon.
It's still coming.
Hey, so let's stay on that point there. I will say, because I think I even sent it in our group. We're in a little Star Wars guys group chat, group text. I was almost trying to like calm the flame of don't get too excited that there's a trailer coming because when they released the EW article.
Wait, real quick. So the day it drops is the day you start backing up on that it's not coming.
Yeah, so whatever the
Probably not.
opposite is of being accurate on a prediction was I was hours away from the coming out, and I'm saying, oh, this is exciting. It definitely feels like it's coming soon. But because they released this article today, it feels like this
Probably
is the
not.
front of a wave of
Yeah.
of an onslaught of all this Obi-Wan
Promotion.
Kenobi
Yeah.
promotion stuff. And so I thought, oh, this feels pretty big that they released the article, had a bunch of new quotes from Ewan, from Kathleen Kennedy, from a lot of the actors, but also gave us looks at Reva, not sure how to say her name yet, but the new Inquisitor.
Yeah.
The Grand Inquisitor was not just in the trailer, but was actually confirmed in that article. It revealed a lot of stuff right away.
Fifth brother.
Yeah.
Fifth brother. They talked about him getting off world and going to a new planet and
Right.
talked about that. And I was like, well, maybe a trailer's not going to happen right then. And then an hour later, Disney's like, nope, you think that was cool? Look at this. And it was pretty exciting. And also, I was dead wrong.
Dead wrong.
I told everyone,
Dead
calm
wrong.
down, and then they came. I was like,
And
don't calm
up.
That's what you get.
Calm up.
You're like, Mike thinks it's not coming. Drop it.
Drop it. We do know that Kathy watches our.
That's
Kathleen
true.
Kennedy watches our show along with Favreau.
She does.
And
true.
by the way that we know that, we mean that she definitely does.
But she will soon.
That's right.
Kathy will watch soon.
This is the YouTube show you're looking for,
We're looking
/
for.
audio only version. I do not
Found
criticize
on
how
all
you
your
intake.
podcast locations.
So great.
I would love Obi-Wan last thing. I would love Obi-Wan doing that, and it's just so long. Like even that. Like,
just keeps
this is
waving
not
back and
this
forth.
is not the show you're looking for. And they just start circling around. It turns into like a Doctor Strange type of a thing. But you will soon find out that there's a lot of joy to be found on this account, while others may be on the negative side. The Inquisitor's head should be more pointy.
And
Don't
the person
forget to
tries
like
to
the
repeat and they
video.
get lost.
Yeah,
and
they
then
just
and he's like,
"Uh."
Inquisitor's head. Oh, Inquisitor's head.
All right, I'm done.
I love it. Do we want to start with just kind of treat it like an episode of Boba or something? Just overall thoughts.
I didn't see the person hanging the first step.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
I think that it might have
Hanging
been
or force
Or something.
lifted.
Feet
Yeah.
dangling. We know that.
Dangling.
definitely gave the feeling of a public
Yeah.
execution.
Everyone's surrounded. Yeah.
And I think that just talking about the tone of it, we've speculated in the weeks leading up to this, especially, that the show would, and I would argue, and I think we all agreed, should feel different than Book of Boba Fett or than Mandalorian, just because this is a very specific. It's not as much of a blank slate. We know what comes after it. So it has to fit into this box, but they have room to do a lot of stuff. But we also know what just happened. With
Right.
Boba Fett, he gets out of the Sarlacc, and then we're kind of, all of our speculation was, what in the world does he do now? And we were all like, does he do this? Does he that? Oh, he's going to be he wants to be kind of the kingpin of the crime world? Cool.
Right.
But with Obi-Wan, it's like, no, he's going to end up looking out for Luke, but we also know that he just experienced the devastation of the millennia. Like the biggest, all of his friends essentially wiped out.
Yeah.
His brother and Anakin turned to the dark side. He thinks, he had to kill him.
Yeah, right.
And leaves him burning alive.
Yeah.
And but as far as the war, like he said, the war's over. We lost. And he's sitting there, and it's just like, and it feels like darkness is invading even just the normal streets of Tatooine even more with like the public hanging. It kind of feels like that's all tied together.
Yeah. And then also probably feeling like in that moment he could do something about it, but he also can't.
Because he can't
Like
reveal
that's
who
the
he
thing
is.
I want to see is like not necessarily that I want to see, but I feel like that's something we might come across is seeing scenarios where Obi-Wan stuff is going on and he like it's eating at him because he's like, I know I can jump in and stop this.
Yeah.
But if I do, everything might not just for himself to not get found because he could probably feel like I can take care of myself, but for Luke's sake and the hope of just the future of the Jedi, he's like, that's my purpose now.
Yeah.
Is Luke, and I know I can help, but if I do, it jeopardizes everything. Like, is he gonna have some of that conflict?
I think
like, is that moment where Owen and the Inquisitors come? Is he gonna be in that scene somewhere and like not step up and do? I don't know. It'll be interesting.
I have so many. I watched it again. I have so many thoughts going through my head with
Good
all
ones?
these.
Love it.
Nah, I'm not gonna share them. They're private. I just thought I'd tell
Good,
you.
we're only on a podcast. For
I
the next
think
2
about
hours.
stuff. Okay, I think about stuff. No, I can share them. So I'm thinking about Obi-Wan, right? And when I was a kid, I guess I wasn't a kid, but we thought about these Jedi being in hiding, and I was like, why are they hiding?
Yeah.
Shouldn't they be out like rousing the people, getting everything going again? But but when you think about it, they wiped out everybody.
Yeah.
And Luke sums it up. He says, "What do you want me to do? Walk out in front of the First Order with a laser? Take on the First Order with a laser sword?"
Yep.
Right.
That answers the question of all of these occasions: why Yoda did that, why Luke did that, why
Yeah.
Obi-Wan did that.
Yeah.
They can't We're keepers of the peace. We're not soldiers.
Right.
That point has been made a lot. So for him to go here and go into hiding actually makes perfect sense because he can't. If he dies, that's it, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
He's got to keep that. So to stay hidden is huge.
Right.
So one of the things I love about these shows, it gives them an opportunity to go deep into the thought process, the mentality that answers questions that I've always had.
Yeah.
So the question like, why didn't he just go out and start another revolution somewhere else?
Right.
We get those answers. We know he's protecting Luke. We know the feeling of defeat.
Sure.
We know fear leads to hate. Hate leads to all of that stuff. So he's battling his own demons and guilt and all that stuff at the same time. And we're going to see all that play
With
out.
also trying to stay true to the Jedi that he probably feels responsible for.
Yeah.
It's not just because of the downfall, but he's also feeling the weight of the responsibility that his Padawan is the one that's caused all this.
That's right.
The
And
one that
he
was
may
entrusted
think,
to him.
What did I do
Yeah.
to push him to this place?
Right.
Why did I not see it?
And I didn't finish. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't finish
I
him
didn't
either. I
end
didn't
it-
even
I
kill
didn't
him. I
end it
didn't even
too.
end it when I thought I did.
Yeah.
Just a lot that he's
I
gonna
think
be
there's so much
struggling
there
with.
too about when you think of why he couldn't just step in and, like you said, he gets, and I think we'll get a lot of that in this show too, with the fact that with Kathleen Kennedy already teasing that we know that he confronts whether he finds. I don't think that Vader finds him on Tatooine because that wouldn't really add up with what happens on.
Right. It's got to be
It's
someplace.
got to be somewhere else.
Mhm.
But it does feel very likely that he finds out that Vader, that Anakin's alive.
Yeah.
And then thinks, well, now the weight of this whole thing is on me. He has conflict of what to do, but it sounds like eventually, whether by his hand or not, he does decide, I have to go try to finish this. And I have to go confront him again because he does feel the guilt and weight of all that, but also like this wouldn't have happened if I had finished. Like Order 66 still happens because that happened before all that.
Yeah.
Right.
But Darth Vader's current reign of terror, as him being, because the Emperor's obviously behind everything, but as we saw as fans of the original trilogy and everything growing up, it wasn't the Emperor who was out there wiping out all the Jedi.
That's right.
It was Vader and his Inquisitors.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And when Obi-Wan finds out, that's why I cannot wait for that moment in the show when he will find out that Anakin's alive.
Right.
Just one, I can't wait just because I think Ewan McGregor is a brilliant actor, and I would love to just see how they play that. Like,
Yes.
what's the
And I'm
actual
just excited
emotion
to
and
see
everything.
Hayden too.
Me too.
Excited,
Even
so
if he's
excited to
not
see
in
Hayden.
that scene and it's just Vader.
But one thing that's connected to this too is when you talk about why he had to stay hidden, is whether he knows it. Because I would argue that Obi-Wan doesn't know it at the moment, but whether Yoda does or he does, or if you want to chalk it up to one of the Star Wars mysteries of just the will of the Force, is that at some point he has to come to grips, and old Ben does come to grips with the fact that it's not old Ben who's going to defeat or turn
That's right.
Vader. It's
Right.
Luke, and that
Mhm.
Luke's their only chance there. And he doesn't know if Luke's
Right.
going to succeed or not, but he knows I've tried, I've failed.
I think
and
we'll
now
see
we'll
that in
know
this.
even when we see New Hope, you'll see even more why this time he doesn't. When he goes and sees, I think that's going to add so much to A New Hope, where you see old Ben and Vader,
Yeah.
and he's not like come back to life. He's not trying to convince him at all.
No.
That's right.
because he's
No.
been through that.
We got
we're
into
gonna
this
get
on
to
the somehow in the last cast
Because
about
I think
that.
we did.
I think it
about
was
the
because we talked about the
Sacrifice.
Return of the
Times.
Jedi line of or
Obi-Wan once thought as
Obi-Wan
you did.
once thought as you
Yeah.
did. That's
Right.
what he says, and that's not really explored in A New Hope, because in A New
Right.
Hope they don't have a conversation of like come back to the light. It
Right.
doesn't do any of that.
Just to give context, we're talking about
we're
where
going a little fast.
Luke's mentioning or tells Vader in
He
Return
knows
of the
there's
Jedi,
good in him, and then
there's still good in you. I can still sense good in you. And Vader
the Emperor hasn't driven it
responds
from you
with-
fully.
Yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
And Vader responds with
Obi-Wan once thought as you did.
That's
And
it.
people have always hung on to that. I was like, that doesn't
When?
feel like
When do we ever
when
see
did this
that?
happen?
Yeah.
So I've heard even some people on the internet and stuff like that were like, oh, him meeting him again would be like a retcon of some stuff. I was like, I never thought that at all.
It
I
makes
thought
sense.
I
Yeah.
thought that there was so much of the other dialogue there that I always wondered, like, when did that happen? Like,
Right.
I always thought,
Yeah.
like, oh, there
Stuff.
must have been something off screen we never saw.
Right.
But
Right.
just the whole idea that it's not, and again, that's why it all ties into, I think, when old Ben knows that this is the time and Luke's watching him. All this rambling, because this is all going to be a long podcast.
Because
Is to
it's
get
rambling.
is to get to the fact, though, that the importance of him watching Luke
Yeah.
and them there eventually being a switch, and maybe it comes it could just be the switch comes in A New Hope when he finally sees Luke, and Luke's asking him about Anakin Skywalker, and he realizes now's the time.
Mm-hmm.
And like this has all been waiting for him to be ready. One, for stuff to line up that Luke would actually be old enough to make a difference and do it.
Yeah.
But also old enough that I know I'm not the guy who can get this done. But also, if I go out there with Luke when he's 12, he's gonna get massacred.
Yeah.
He can't do that then.
Right.
But like him being ready, and then also feeling like it's the will of the Force that Luke's now finally coming and asking about this. So I just think so much of this is the fascinating like line of he's going to confront Vader, but then there's also going to be a realization that it's not going to be an endless pursuit of Obi-Wan attacking Vader, trying to get Vader. Because as soon as I kill Vader, because that's not a Jedi. A Jedi doesn't go and attack the enemy over and over and over.
I think we'll see
it's
that.
the knowledge and defense. I think he can confront him and tries to turn him.
Right.
And then we'll act, and there might be a chance to try to defeat him then. But then he comes to terms, this is not going to happen.
Yeah. No, I
there's
think
just
you're
so
right.
much. There's so much talk
I think
about
you're
on
right.
the show.
I think we'll see that, and that's kind of what pushes Obi-Wan to realize he's not coming back.
Right.
And that kind of leads to the moment of him telling Luke, "Yeah, your father's dead. Darth Vader killed him." Because in his eyes, he tried to bring him back. If we see that play out, he tries to bring him back, and he's like, "That's not Anakin."
It's not
He's
him.
like, I talked to him. The guy I knew is not in there.
That's
anymore.
not
At
him.
least he was not able to reach him.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. At least, yeah. So,
I love it.
I think you're right. I think we might.
Yeah, because
explore some
Anakin
of that.
died. Anakin died. Was really dying before their fight.
Yeah.
He was already on his
Yeah.
way. You know, one of the things I was thinking about when I was watching that, one of the other thoughts I had was, I never thought about this. Does it make sense that Luke Skywalker is not Luke Skywalker? That he is actually Luke Lars
You mean in the show?
in the show?
And he doesn't know his name till later.
He doesn't. His name is not Luke Skywalker. His name is Luke Lars. He's the child of Owen and Beru Lars. Right?
Yeah.
Totally makes sense.
Wow.
He doesn't know that. Somewhere along the line, Obi-Wan delivers
Obi-Wan
a
delivers the
baby
message.
to Owen and Beru Lars
Yeah.
and say, "This is the child. Protect this child." Are they going to start calling him Luke Skywalker? He's a baby. You don't walk around saying, "This is our new baby, Luke Skywalker." He would say, "This
Especially
is."
when Inquisitors are coming to the town searching
That's
for
exactly
him.
right. So
Searching
this is our baby Luke, and as he grows, he is
Yeah.
Luke Lars. You don't say to your 5-year-old, "Guess what? I'm not your dad." That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You don't do that. So that's all going on in this. That he's not Luke Skywalker. So all that stuff about why would he just go to the planet? Luke Skywalker is there. I honestly believe that he's not going to be Luke Skywalker in this.
Do
He's
you
gonna
think
be
that
Luke
Do
Lars.
you think Obi-Wan's the one who delivers the truth to him? Not that of Anakin Skywalker, but because when we meet him in A New Hope, he goes by Luke Skywalker.
He does?
Right.
So
there
who's
is
the
a
one who
point-
tells him?
There is a point at which
The Owen
certain
tells him?
age, like at a certain age or
somehow
something.
it becomes something leaks, something happens. He learns something. He finds something, some evidence that says
Yeah.
it's it's the same thing that happens. Like, wait a minute, you're not my dad. This is not how. What? I'm just thinking there's a possibility that fits within this scenario. That he doesn't know that the name Skywalker never comes up because Shmi married. What was it?
Klieg-Lars.
Klieg-Lars.
Yeah.
And he was the child. Of course, he's still Luke Skywalker from before, or for Anakin Skywalker. But Shmi becomes a Lars, and then the baby comes into this family, and it's Owen and Beru Lars. And
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
what
I
is
like that.
Leia's last name?
Yeah,
Right.
Anakin Skywalker.
Organa.
Yeah,
Right.
Right. So why would he be Luke? He's going to be Luke Lars.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
I like that.
And that
What
answers so many questions.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the fact that and I think it was Deborah Chow said in that EW article, she said, thank you, I think it was a direct quote, was something along the lines of, "Thank you, George Lucas, for casting Joel Edgerton all those years ago.
Right.
We had no idea how good of an actor he was going to
Oh,
be becoming.
man.
And now he's done so many roles that I love.
And
He's
now
also
they
a
got
great
him.
director and
Yeah.
everything. And now he's coming back and he's like
Well-
a completely different actor. Not that he wasn't great then,
Right.
but they showed in the
Keeps getting
trailer.
better
they're-
and better
they're-
and better.
and I think they showed in the
Oh,
trailer
yeah.
they're going to finally use him. Like, he's a
Right.
stand-in, small
Right.
little, like, oh, he's delivering. There's not even any dialogue by
No.
him in, at the end of
Right.
Revenge of the Sith. But now he's out facing face to face with an Inquisitor,
Well,
and he's out
think
there.
about this. What does he have? How does he get in this?
Yeah.
Like why did you pull me into this? Why are Baru and I in this now? My dad marries Shmi Skywalker, and Anakin Skywalker comes, and now he's I don't know if they know the whole story.
Right.
But then now you bring the child back here again? You pull us into this again?
Right.
Is he fully on board or not? Like
Yeah.
is Baru
Yeah.
fully on board? I mean, how do they feel about this?
This is the thing. I can't,
Now he's standing face to face with someone who was
They skipped the
gonna
scene
kill
where
him.
Obi-Wan pulls his lightsaber out and said, "You will watch the."
We'll watch the child.
But what you were just
you
finishing
know what I
with
mean?
there, I
Yeah.
think this is
feel?
going to give so much credibility to why. Like, I think it's going to help defend the argument of Owen.
That's right.
Owen's now going to see the horrors that are coming after his quote unquote son, the boy he's looking after,
Yes.
and he knows that this crazy old wizard in the desert is
Telling the
link
truth
to him. And as soon as he sees actually now we actually see in the trailer Inquisitors that are coming, that he knows if they just find out for a second that the boy I'm watching who he is, that those people with red lightsabers are coming to kill him. So of course, to me, what a good father figure, or at least what someone who's not even his actual father, but at least one of the things a good guardian would do is, listen, you're attracting danger because they're not here. The Inquisitors are not here at this time period hunting for Luke. They don't know
right.
Luke exists.
They're looking for
They're hunting
Obi-Wan.
for Obi-Wan. So he's like, get the heck out of here.
That's right.
You hanging around Luke is
Right.
only bringing
You're making
Yeah.
it.
danger towards Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of here. I know you're trying to look out for him, but
If
you
they
being
find
close
out.
is
Right.
going to get him caught. And it's
Right.
going to get him killed.
Yeah.
And of course, eventually, it just makes all of it more tragic. When I think we're going
Yeah.
to get really attached to
That
Owen and
whole
probably
side of the
Baru.
story is
But
going to
seeing
be.
seeing
Yeah.
the demise of Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, I think after
That's-
we're really
That's right.
attached to this, is going to be so much more
I definitely,
sad.
like you're saying, I definitely
Because in
think
the
they'll
original
utilize
trilogies
him
as a
more.
kid, I was like, oh, dang, his aunt and uncle.
I
Like,
knew
that's
him
sad.
for-
But I was kind of like, that was, as a kid, I'm like, that was sad. But they were kind of mean to Luke. Like, it's like you're not really attached to
That's
like
exactly
their
right.
point of view.
Yeah.
It's always about someone's point of view.
That's right.
Yeah.
I just think that now when we're going to really get attached to him and then we see them killed and, by stormtroopers
Well,
and everything,
right.
it's going to be it's just going to be way heavier.
And all the implications of episode 4 too. We know they couldn't have children.
Yeah.
For whatever reason.
Mhm.
This is their only child. And so I don't know if we'll get into it in the show, but at some point Luke begins to separate because he knows that his father was Anakin Skywalker. And that what if we see that develop in this
Yeah.
show? That if there's enough time passes, we don't know how they're going to go through this time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But at some point I think there's going to be a revelation and he's going to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to deal with that, and it's going to be hard because he's the Lars boy now. He's their boy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think John
Interesting.
Jay Thomas in the chat also, was touching on your point too. It says, I think there will be plenty of dialogue between Owen and Obi-Wan, and Luke already says he's heard stories of Old Ben and the New Hope. So
That's right.
They
there's
clearly had
definitely
interactions
before, but also, like you're saying, I think they'll utilize Owen even more. I mean, obviously we saw
Yeah.
him in the trailer. We know
Right.
that he's looking after Luke, but I think seeing the Inquisitors and these people, red lightsabers, coming and looking for any Force users, even if they're not looking for Luke specifically, but they're
Right.
looking for Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan tells them the story of Luke and who he is.
Yep.
That might even drive Owen to be like, well, we have to go all out to protect this kid. Like, we gotta, like you're saying, Obi-Wan, get out of here. You can't be around here. The more you see him, like, do you think we'll see Obi-Wan almost being too protective or looking out too much, and Owen being like, you gotta get out of here.
I think we're gonna
You gotta
get
out of here.
I think we're gonna get
Yeah.
some great acting scenes between Ewan McGregor and Joel Edgerton of them
Yeah.
face to face, and him trying to say, "This is why I have to protect him," and he's saying, "And this is why I have to protect him by telling you to get the heck out of here."
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think it's gonna be. And
I
both
can't
sides,
wait
neither
for
side
this
is wrong.
series.
Like, we obviously know where it ends
Right.
up, and we know that what
Right.
Obi-Wan is doing is ultimately the good that ends up helping him. But we also know that Owen and Beru get killed.
Yeah.
Like, they get killed, and Luke almost gets killed.
Yeah.
And people are after Ben with red lightsabers. So it's
it
Inquisitors. We know what they're called. But
it could be.
With
people
Right,
with red
right.
lightsabers.
It's interesting that Luke says you think you might mean old Ben. He
Yeah.
doesn't say you think you might mean Ben,
Yeah.
which means
Yeah, old Ben.
there is going to be a break between their connection from the time Luke is young,
Yeah.
teen. He only
Old
knows.
Ben.
you know,
You mean that old neighbor?
he only
Like
knows
that guy?
old Ben.
Yeah.
Because you don't call somebody old Ben if you've known them for 30 years.
That's interesting.
Right.
Or, however, if you've known him since you were a kid, you would say, you think they mean Ben? You wouldn't say old Ben, which is the old guy.
Right. You're right.
The guy who dropped him off is not old Ben, and the guy who's
And even though
when
Ewan
he's
McGregor's
5, that's
getting
not
older,
old
It's
Ben.
not old
yeah,
Ben,
even
yeah.
though
He's
Ewan
getting
McGregor's
older.
getting older, that's
He's
a
not
stretch
old
for
Ben.
a kid to say, "Hey, you old man!" Like, I mean,
Maybe-
he's old compared to him. I
maybe
guess.
he's old.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
thinking maybe
No, I
there's
think-
there. I think you guys are right. There may be a break there
Yeah.
where he has to separate to protect him.
This is a
Yeah.
small thing too. I was just looking this up on my phone just to make sure I had the wording correct too. Of it's funny now looking back and we're talking about what Uncle Owen told Luke growing up about his father.
Mm-hmm.
And Luke talks about he was told he was a navigator on a spice freighter, which is funny now that we've seen all this stuff with spice. That he's essentially was saying he was the navigator, he was a drug runner, like whether
Right.
he was the pilot of a drug running ship. Essentially, as a navigator on a spice.
Who is this
runner.
you're talking about?
Anakin.
And
That's what he's been told his father was.
Mhm.
I was told he was a navigator on a spice raider. Which is
Yeah.
funny because I never really put two and two together.
That's
until
true.
You've seen
That's
now a
interesting.
lot more about spice with the Kessel Run and the Pikes
Poe.
and Obi-Wan Spice. Get your spice. Yeah, all this stuff.
You were a
with
spice
Poe
runner.
Dameron.
You were a stormtrooper. I could do this all day.
Yeah.
But a navigator on a spice freighter means a lot more
Yeah.
now with all the stuff they've seen in canon and especially live action of mentioning that versus
On Tatooine too.
on,
Yeah.
as a child when I hear that I'm like, oh, spice it like I don't know. Well,
Right.
like
pepper?
Like pepper? Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Paprika freighter?
Exactly. I'm like, oh,
Right.
he's a chef.
He's a chef.
pilot.
Yeah.
Small little
Allspice
side
freighter.
note. I just thought that I was thinking about that. Huh.
That's right.
Now, especially seeing the conclusion of Book of Boba Fett and all the spice, what's done to Tatooine later on, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting little thing.
I like also what Jay Thomas said here is do we find out if more Jedi are possibly alive in this show other than Obi-Wan? Will there be other Jedi in the show? Maybe. Are there more Jedi alive? Yes. We know for sure there are other Jedi still alive. Do we know if any of them will be in the show? No, I don't think we know any of that yet.
Do you want to know what I think?
You think?
Yeah. What do you think?
I think.
I think we will see.
You guys should have both said no. We don't care what you think.
We do.
I think we will.
I
I
care.
think the only two that I would predict would be Yoda
Mm-hmm.
because of just the time period.
Just like you mean like them,
And-
like Obi-Wan and Yoda, maybe
and the
connecting or
ghost
something?
of Qui-Gon.
Force Ghost Qui-Gon. Yeah.
Other than that, I don't think they would. Just because I think
Yeah.
that changes the importance of Luke. Not in story, we know there are more people out there.
Right.
But if Obi-Wan knows there's more people out there, I do think that he possibly goes and visits a young Leia. I think that's possible.
Yeah,
But as far as like, I don't see him teaming up with a Cal Kestis and like all
like
these.
a Quinlan Voss.
No,
Have you
I
seen
don't-
that going around?
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Just because it doesn't feel like
Kind of moves out of the.
it just feels. I do think this is interesting because I think this bridges into a bigger question of, or the big feel of the trailer. What's interesting is I think this is more than anything we've ever gotten. The biggest bridge between this is the bridge between the prequels and the originals. That everyone. This is why it's got this sweet spot of.
Yeah.
Aside from the shape of an Inquisitor's head, which we'll get to because some people have problems with that.
I'm not watching because of that.
Yeah.
I was
this
going
show
to
is
until I
great.
saw that.
His head should be pointier.
Why doesn't it look like a cartoon?
Because it's not a cartoon, you moron.
No, we don't say that. We don't say that.
Whoa.
We don't say that.
I
We
thought
don't
we
say
talked
that.
about
was-
compassion.
that was old
being,
Ben.
leaving a trail.
That was old Ben. We all know old Ben's snarky.
Oh, we do know that.
That was not me. No. You can have whatever feelings you want about the Inquisitor. I'm just kidding. Yeesh. But all I was going to say is the bridge between just seeing the Luke in the obviously pre A New Hope, but this a whole lead into everything we know at the start of A New Hope. Everything post Revenge of the Sith. Now everybody, I know Ewan McGregor said in like an article like yesterday that there's been this renewed love for the prequels that he's never felt before. That fans
Mhm.
have been very open
What
about their
Ewan
love
said?
for the
Yeah, I saw
he
that
said
quote.
he said it's great that people have this renewed love for the prequels that frankly we just didn't feel a lot of that
Right.
back in the day.
Yeah,
and
I wish I knew the exact quote, but it was something like.
but it was like
It's
it's
refreshing.
It's refreshing to see.
Being able to see the people that actually are enjoying what we made and see the kids that we made those for now growing, like, at the age now where they can enjoy this as adults.
Appreciate it.
And appreciate it a little bit more and have that fandom kind of grow up with us now, coming back to reprise these roles. You could see he was like, yeah, we got a lot of hate and we didn't feel too good, and now
But it's just
coming back.
The feel of it is
Such a
perfect because it
shame.
looks so original trilogy, but it's based on essentially it's the in between, but it's the actor especially of the prequel trilogy and 2 actors because we're gonna have obviously Hayden back as well in this perfect time slot where it's like so close to leading into A New Hope that it's like, oh, we know where the story is going, and then also it's so close, and it's 10 years or whatever after Revenge of the Sith. They're like, oh, we know what just happened to him. Like there's so much there that just feels like it's the perfect sweet spot where everyone. I mean, if you look at reaction videos to this trailer on the internet, first of all, check out ours. But
Wait, we
shameless
did one
plug.
of those, right?
We did
Yeah,
one
we
of
did
those,
one of
right?
Look at every single person's reaction when Duel of the Fates kicks
Oh my gosh.
in. I would say that people
I know
are
it.
whether you love the prequels completely. I'm not saying you need to. I love a lot of the prequel stuff. But when Duel of Fates kicks in, I haven't seen a
Soundtrack.
single person that goes, "Is that one of them prequel?" I don't know. Is Sam Elliott reacting to these?
Prequel. That's one of them prequel joints. John Williams must have been off his rocker doing those.
So you're saying in 30 years people go, I love the shape of that guy's head.
Love the shape that guy's head. so glad it didn't look like Dan Aykroyd.
So glad they fixed that.
Yeah. Totally.
That's what they say about us.
They'll be
Why is
passionate.
Uncle's head so flat?
So his uncle's
I don't
head
know.
so
And how
flat.
come he doesn't have those lines? in there?
That's nice.
Retconning Uncle on the podcast, I refuse to watch.
Why does Mike look different as the show has progressed? He's gotten older. It's just what happens.
Oh, you mean old Mike?
Old Mike?
Old Mike.
Old Mike.
No, that is a mic.
Now that's
We do
a
not
mic.
talk
You know how
about
much
that.
money we spend de-aging Mike on this podcast?
Too
I
much.
haven't even noticed.
Too
It's so
much.
good.
It's really been.
It's so good.
It's 90% of our budget right now is going to de-aging me, just so we can keep this thing going.
Those filters only go so far.
I love it.
Oh man.
Oh man.
So are we still on our overall feel of the?
I got
Yeah.
the
Trailer?
I mean,
I mean, overall, I absolutely loved it. I mean, you just hit it right
Yeah.
there. Duel of the Fates.
I mean,
the
it's
soundtrack. Oh my god.
we talk about nostalgia. That absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
I think I feel worse for Jake Lloyd. I just feel like
Man,
he took heat for a little
know.
kid too.
Yeah.
That's awful.
you really.
I wish
You
they
know,
had him
Ahmed
back.
Best is a grown up.
Yeah,
It's hard. He's an
yeah.
actor. He's a
Yeah.
grown up, but
You
Jake
can't-
I
Lloyd.
wish Jake Lloyd would come
Little
back.
kid,
Like I wish
man.
they'd throw him in a role as some other character, just in a scene. Or
I think
something.
he left acting
I think he
altogether.
did.
I think so,
Yeah,
too,
he's
but
had
yeah.
some hardships all around with his
Yeah.
life since then. But
That's a shame.
Um,
That's sad. But
yeah, yep.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
it's gonna be exciting to see Hayden, because I think that Hayden obviously is big and the main star of
Yeah.
the prequels, and Ewan McGregor's right up there with him. But I think most people would say, and accurately so, that Ewan got a lot more love from the prequels than Hayden did.
yeah.
as
Everyone's
far
like,
as,
"Oh,
like,
the
yes.
prequels
I
were
don't know
terrible."
anyone who was-
Ewan, though, you were great.
I don't know
You were
anyone
great.
who was really critical of Ewan McGregor in
No, everyone
the
said he
prequels.
was like the best. Everyone loved it.
Hayden, I know there's a lot of huge Anakin fans, and I really liked Anakin growing
Yeah.
up. I also know there's a lot of people that were very outspoken about, because it was like a following of like, we're not a huge fan
His
of what
role.
Jake Lloyd
Yeah.
did as a young child, and then they cast Anakin, and they cast him in the angsty teen stage is what he's supposed to be,
Yeah.
where he's got a love interest, but he doesn't know how to talk to girls, and the whole thing is, I like sounds coarse and rough and irritating, it gets everywhere.
And
it's
also
just this whole
trying
thing.
at the same time to show his instincts of leaning towards the dark side.
And in fairness, and we've discussed this
That's right.
before, as much as we all love George Lucas, it is a director's job to get the most out of the actors.
Yeah.
Also, when you are writer and director, and Hayden says something about sand, and people are like, "Oh, Hayden Christensen's the worst," you're like, "Well, he didn't make up the lines. Like those were written for him." And also, George,
Not only that,
along
he
with
got
all
paid
of
to
George's
say 'em.
henchmen are all going, "Yeah, that's it. Cut, print, check.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Like
If
that's
you don't say,
you don't
I don't
say
think
that's-
Anakin would say that to George Lucas.
yeah.
Right.
And if the take's bad, that's why the director gets a lot of the glory and a lot of the downfall. If a movie's bad, is if an actor does a bad take, the director can say, "We need another
Do it
take.
again."
Do it again."
Yeah.
Exactly.
The director
right.
says that's good, and the take ends up being bad. It's not on the actor. It's on the director who let it go through.
Right.
And they're putting together day after day, week after week of the shoot. The director has to keep because they're not shooting. The trajectory of the actor is not from beginning to end.
Yeah.
So when they shoot the last scene first, the actor doesn't know all of the path. They've read the script, but they haven't felt all the feelings to get there yet.
They haven't acted their way through it.
And the director has to guide them on not just, Luke would say, imagine what it would feel like if your aunt and uncle just died, right? So that's not it. It's So to keep that consistent between that scene and that scene and that scene, the actor brings what they bring to it, but the director has to keep the pace, the tone, the volume, the speed. All of those things have to be kept in check with where we are in the story, and the actors aren't privy to all of the details.
Right.
So the director has to go, okay, we need something more like this, and when it's not on the mark,
Right.
it's the director's job who sees the whole vision to say,
Right.
this is what we're going for. It's more this than that.
Yeah.
If you don't get those, if you don't catch those moments when they come up, when you're editing at the end, things feel like they don't fit
Yeah.
because the actor's doing one thing, but it doesn't fit within the picture.
Yeah.
And nobody's going to correct George Lucas. No one, this
No.
is never going to
No.
argue
No.
with him.
No.
No. That's the
And
again, it's the blessing and the curse of the prequels is it's a George Lucas passion project, which is great. And then, but what happens, and it happens, it's not
Right.
just George Lucas. And obviously, it's a Star Wars podcast. We love George Lucas. But
Yeah.
that's what happens to someone who has ultimate control and people who he's
mean,
now
even
gotten to a
George,
place that's
yeah.
so big that people are not going to say no to him and say yes to questionable, if not bad ideas. That's what ends up happening. Versus in the original trilogy, when he writes and directs, then
It's-
he gets a director, then he gets Kasdan to write a script, and he gets
Yeah.
Marquand to
It's
direct, and
always-
Kirshner, he gets all these guys. It's a different thing.
100%. With creativity, it's always friction that makes greatness.
Yeah.
Paul McCartney's got to have John Lennon to really
Yeah.
cause that
Yeah.
friction to get where it goes. Elvis got to the point where he called all his shots, and that's kind of what
Yeah,
you
that's
get
the
your
downfall.
own thing. So without that friction and at the beginning, the tension was between, is it going to work? Do I have all the answers? Collaboration. I think it got to a point where, like you said, where
I'm
it
gonna
was
do everything
where it
the way I
was-
want to do it.
And I would be the same way. I'm sitting there with George Lucas. I'm like, "You're George Lucas. What am I going to
Yeah.
say
Right.
other than I think this is going to be great?"
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And even
You know?
George has admitted, like, yeah, I didn't get to tell the complete story I wanted, which is why they made
Right.
Clone Wars and
That's right.
Rebels, and that's why they
You're also limited by the
the time,
medium.
the movies, yeah. So I mean,
Which
the
this all
era,
ties back
of
to.
it.
This all ties back to Obi-Wan because we talked even in our previous or a couple of codpasts. That's not a word.
Ooh.
Podcast
Ooh.
before.
Ooh.
Now this is codpasting. That's not
Welcome to Star Wars, guys. Codpass.
Codpast. But we talked about before how,
That's who
how
stole Boba
excited
Fett's
we
armor.
are that this is
Codpast.
not a film, but this is a six episode
Yeah.
show, a series.
Yeah.
Even though it's a limited series, and Uncle talked about it in the reaction. He
Yeah.
said, "I wish it was more." I love so much as I love Star Wars films. If I can get 2 hours of Obi-Wan or 6 hours of Obi-Wan, I'm getting 6
Give
hours.
me 6.
Give me 6.
Yeah.
Just like George could tell with the Clone Wars way more than he could
Yeah.
with the Attack of the Clones era
Right.
thing.
Right.
And also I want to cap off this just little discussion with this could be taken or people might misconceive this as us not being fans of the Clone Wars because we're talking about some of the things George might have done wrong. Or Clone Wars of the prequels. All three of us love the prequels. We don't think they're perfect movies, but
yeah.
there's a lot we
I
love
did
about
the same
prequels.
stuff with Empire. I mean, I
Yeah.
talk about the things
Yeah.
in
You got
that.
to. You just point out the stuff,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
the only reason we bring that up is that is this prequel discussion is always tied to, especially now, it comes back up again. People talk about the prequels. One, they talk about it compared to the sequels because people criticize always
Yeah.
the current movies. It's just the cycle of things.
Yeah.
But with the return of Hayden, the return of Ewan, there's a lot of good stuff in there. That I always say the prequels, and I've heard other people say this as well. Prequels are great story. George Lucas is a fantastic
Oh my
storyteller.
gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's not a particularly strong writer as far as dialogue goes all the time. He's not a particularly strong actor's director, as Mark Hamill will tell you, that faster and more intense. That's
Yeah,
what he
this
would
is
tell
not like we're not giving our professional opinion. This is
No,
what we've read.
This is
and
what this
Right,
is. Yeah,
right,
this is
right.
not me. This is what Mark Hamill said.
Right.
It's like I love George.
right.
When I asked George, Mark Hamill has said that in the scene where Luke gets his hand cut off by Darth Vader, and he's
Right.
saying no, and it's kind of this big over the top thing. He's like, I would ask George, like, George, what should he be feeling here? And he's like, just pretend like you just found out that Darth Vader's your daddy. And he's like, well, yeah, I know that. That's on the screen.
I
Like,
read the script.
He's like, well, just like like you lost your hand, and then I know I lost my hand. What's the
Give us something.
So
Yeah,
he's like, well,
right.
just you got to keep going. And so this is not our.
It'll be
again,
fine.
I'm
It'll be
not,
fine.
all right. I don't pretend to be as
It'll be
smart or even as good a writer or anything like that compared to George Lucas. This is all just to say there are things that I think that Hayden, because we've seen Hayden some other
Yeah.
stuff too. I think Hayden in certain things is and Natalie Portman in certain roles is a fantastic actor.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
sometimes when she
We
comes,
all know
comes off
Ewan's
flat,
great.
and Ewan's one of the best.
It's fantastic.
But all those prequel actors now, I think, getting a little revival of getting their due.
Yeah.
With just time passes, nostalgia does a lot, but also just I love seeing the excitement. Is what I'm getting at for them to come back and get another shot. Where if this happened 15 years ago, there'd be a lot of people like and then other people that would do kind of what we hear now about Star
Right.
Wars. A lot of people are like, boo, move on, different time period, different
on.
actors, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The wells run dry. Apparently not.
No,
Apparently not.
thankfully
Apparently
not.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is moisture in that well,
Moisture farmer.
and we need a farmer to.
I stole the joke.
He jumped
It's
in.
all right.
Sorry.
It's okay.
He jumped in.
Ah.
So yeah.
Plenty more where that came from.
Hey, well, guess what? I know a couple of mods that could rough up
It's,
that moisture farmer and get those calamari flam
Like a
credits
band.
back.
like a
Like a
bouncer.
Vespa.
You had
Like a Vespa.
like a pod race. No, you mentioned potentially Yoda and Qui-Gon.
When did I say that? Like an hour
About
ago?
yeah, basically. No,
Yeah.
about Jedi or whatever that.
Yeah, what Jedi might we see in the?
I think those are
Show.
good. If we're talking about just ones that are not necessarily ones I think we'll see, but ones that are still alive, from what we know, based on the time period, from what we've been told from these stories so far, is Ahsoka's out there. Well, we know Ahsoka's out there for sure. Cal, I don't think we've gotten that far in Jedi Fallen Order to know his story this late in the game. I think this takes place 5 years after the Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay.
I think it's something like that. It's like somewhere around 5-10 years after that. So last we saw Cal, he was alive. So Cal Kestis is still alive. There's potential teasers that we saw. Quinlan Voss was in a cameo in the Phantom Menace, and then he was also in Clone Wars. So we saw him in Clone Wars. So we don't know his full story. So he might still be out there, but he's not necessarily. He's kind of like a rogue.
What about our obvious choice to come and rescue Grogu? Jay Thomas, Mace Windu.
Our obvious
I think
choice.
it's the most obvious.
He's limping.
That's true.
Limping in with.
That's true.
Yeah.
He just shows
With
up
one
with a
hand.
cane. Mace Windu showing up
He
like an
sound-
old Yoda with a cane. and
but it's
then
the character from Django Unchained. It's the Samuel L. Jackson
Samuel
character.
Jackson's got the white hair. There's a-
Django!
Skywalker. You are wanted. No. I think
And he
Mace
said Django.
you think-
Yeah, I remember him.
Django, the other Django, Django Unchained. Do you think Mace Windu could be? I mean, even let's say tangent. Best case scenario, falls from the sky, lands. He is still in the middle of Order 66 in Coruscant. I don't see
With
that
no
as
hands.
with no hands, no saber. I don't see that as a great chance.
I don't see that as
I mean,
likely.
that's what I picture probably happen. He flies out the window. He does his landing. Whew, that was close. And he looks around, and then they start blasting him. And he's like, "I can take that." And gets away, and then he gets
It's a-
run over by
I can do
a
that.
speeder, and he stands up, and then they come out with
I think
Vader's
that you're
back
right.
there.
I think that it was hard enough for able-bodied, like fully healthy
Jedi.
Jedi to escape Order 66,
I mean, 6 of them couldn't get past the Emperor at one time.
which I know we've talked about before. This is how we like. We like you poke fun at some of the goofy stuff. These are the best guys that Mace is able to recruit on. I get that like
This is the
Yoda's
council.
out and he's fighting on Kashyyyk and all
Man.
these people are
These
are
are Jedi
out.
Masters.
But I mean, it does add up with some of the things that they've talked about. They talked about them being spread thin, like during that time period, because there's
Right.
all this stuff going on with the war and the separatists and all this stuff. But he walks in there, and these guys are like posed, ready to go, and Mace is talking about you
You're a
threatening
Sith
me, Master
Lord.
Jedi.
You're
One
under
Chief
arrest.
Palpatine
Well, it's
screech,
treason,
and then
then.
they're all done.
and then he spins, and Mace goes, "Holy!" Just gets out of the way.
Holy
And everyone else
Toledo.
just gets.
So
And he goes, "What's in your wallet?" No.
we talked about Star Wars Connections. I have this idea for a show called Star Wars Connections, where they take a half-hour episode and they show you something that happened outside of the scene that connects it.
Yeah.
Perfect connection. Mace is like, all right, we got to go confront the Emperor. I think he's a Sith Lord. Can I get any volunteers? Ooh, 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 ooh. No, no, no. All right, you in the back. Come on up.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
You. Oh, fine. Come on up. Come on up. But be ready, because he might attack us. And then they open the doors, and that's what happens.
And he's going down the list, and he's first going to like his A-listers. He's like,
okay,
Master so and so. I gotta. Master Mace, I'd love to. I gotta pick up
like,
my kids from soccer practice. That
I
just
told you
conflicts.
no.
I don't. Oh, I don't have anything going on. All right, you.
Could be dangerous.
You with the tails. Come on. Done.
Done.
No chance.
It could be dangerous.
Oh man.
Anyway,
that's
I love
perfect.
It is
Star Wars
It
Connections
is a good
coming
scene.
Star Wars
to
Connections.
Coming to a pod. We should just do it ourselves.
yeah.
We could write them. We'll
Yeah.
just do. I thought about putting together a little stop motion Star Wars Lego show.
Ooh.
We could do Star Wars Guys Connections with the Lego podcast.
I like this.
Stop motion photos, and we could do connections. We could do that scene where he's like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Are we gonna?
You guys could do the voices. You could do the impressions, and
That's
we'll do the
true.
whole show.
Are we gonna redo? We're gonna redo all the big major scenes of Star Wars, and each time, because it's the only logical thing, is that Mace shows up alive and saves the day, and every single major.
We just pop the hands out of
It's
the
the
pop the hands out of the
Luke.
Lego.
Luke falls into Luke falls into the Rancor pit, and then Luke goes, "What's up?" Mace comes out of nowhere, and he's got no hands. And
Mace
he's
is
fighting, and it's just always
Mace is everywhere.
Like
I'm everywhere.
Mace is the only, in our mind, this is a callback to our own podcast when we said that the only thing that made sense. More
And
than
Mando.
Luke Skywalker, who's the most famous Jedi in the galaxy at that time.
You want to explain? If you didn't see our podcast way back,
This was
we were
season
talking
one,
about,
Mando.
Season 2?
Season 1.
We were thinking about who would be
Who
would be showing
answer
up.
the call for Grogu?
Who would
Season
answer the
2.
call for
Yeah,
Grogu?
season 2.
Yeah.
And we thought the only logical solution was Mace Windu. I shouldn't say we. Maybe it was me. I'm just saying we. So
No, we all had. I
definitely
predicted that
threw
we
it
would
out
be
there,
on
yeah.
Camino. And not only did they not go on Camino, Star Wars
Blew it
itself created an entire show just to blow up Camino because they didn't want me predicting that they would go back to Camino.
Yeah,
That was a
Definitely
huge
watching
one.
our podcast.
Mike and Nate keep wanting to go to Camino. Let's end that thing.
Let's end it.
We
End
did.
that thing. We're gonna destroy the whole.
We're gonna jump the
because of
shark on Camino and
I've
then
been
blow it
predicting
up.
all this cloning stuff every show so far. We're never gonna get to it.
They blew up the cloning station.
this. I love it.
Maybe they
Oh,
cloned
man.
Camino.
Ooh,
That'll throw you for a loop.
No.
I love it. So this.
No,
so,
so-
let's start talking about this trailer.
Let's start talking about this show.
We're
Wait.
only an hour in.
No,
No, I'm
but-
just kidding. Did you have anything else
I
to
was
add on
just
what we
gonna
were just saying
say the
before you?
Jedi. I think those are some that are
Oh,
live,
yeah.
but the ones that are likely, I would say, I do think I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see Yoda. If we see Yoda, I wouldn't be surprised, especially if we know Obi-Wan's going off world. Seems weird that they would have never connected.
Yeah, who's gonna teach him to commune with Qui-Gon?
Yeah.
Doesn't that have to be Yoda that has to teach him?
There
that?
you will meet
Yeah.
Yoda, the Jedi Master who instructed me.
So that's
Right.
where.
Or
he's
was
gotta
it
go.
like he was kind of a communal instructor because he was the head of the council? Like that's a bit of a. Obi-Wan is. He has a relationship with the truth that's
it's
less
a
than
little.
truthful.
It's
Right.
It's a little loose.
loose.
It's
Yeah.
loose. Yeah.
Once.
So
Instructed me
Yeah.
once. Instructed me to go here.
Instructed me to the lavatory. I
I
had
mean,
to
he
go
told you to come
bathroom.
here. Yeah.
yeah. But that said, the Cal, although I don't think he'll be in the show, Cal Kestis, there are definitely ties to Jedi Fallen Order with the Inquisitorius, the
Right.
water
Which
underwater
looks so cool.
castle we see in the
Man.
trailer. The
Yeah.
Inquisitors flying out there. They've got a meeting where the fifth brother's sitting they're having a dinner table or something.
Man.
they're at a table and getting instructed. That's looks like. I mean, I pulled up. I think I even tweeted like side by side photos of Fallen Order picture and what we saw in the trailer, and it's like that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
See, I'm not in the whole interwebs, as you call them, as you kids call it these days.
You're in the outer rebs.
No, I'm just
The
kidding.
the outer rim.
outer
I-
rim.
Outer
no,
rebs?
I'm
What the heck did I say?
This guy.
I joke about. I'm a little older, but I'm not that old.
No.
I'm kind of techie.
In
So-
fact, you were
He's
in,
the most
you were-
tacky on
you-
the- on
I
the-
brought
in
lights.
fact, you were like deconstructing and rebuilding computers before I knew what the internet
I
was.
was doing
I do remember
that.
that.
I was building
That's
computers a
true.
long time ago. But the question I haven't been.
And he brought lights. We
I
can't let
brought
that go.
lights. I showed him how to turn the lights on. It was awesome.
Remember how we did a whole podcast, 30 minutes? I didn't have my microphone on that first day.
That's true.
I was never gonna tell anyone that. We're fiddling with I don't know what's going on.
Guess what was wrong with it?
Everything's plugged in right. Could you
You're
check your
testing 1, 2, test nothing. Oh, Uncle, I hate to tell you,
30 minutes go by.
I didn't flip the switch.
30 minutes of
Like
our
how
podcast.
every light in history needs a little switch.
to
Flip the
to
switch.
your credit, there was a light on
That's true.
from the USB connection that looked like the mic light,
the mic.
but it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It was
Yeah.
not on.
No, it wasn't.
Well, then we were we won't get into the fact that we didn't turn the volume up to chest the other day. It took us 15 minutes to turn
Yeah,
it
that's
away.
true.
Although I did now
That's
just bring
tech.
it up. No, I was going to say I
we
was
won't
not,
bring this up by mentioning this when I will mention.
I
it
will
real quick.
not say that. No. I wasn't following the conversation about the misshapen. Actually,
Grand Inquisitor.
the normal shaped head on the show
Do we
Yeah.
want to pull it up?
was a point of controversy.
Ooh.
Are we getting into
Apparently-
this? Are we getting into the Grand? I can pull it up on screen.
Okay.
You want to pull up the Grand Inquisitor?
Definitely. Nate's got this thing. It's awesome. Yeah. Oh,
Here we
yeah,
go. Hold on.
see,
Let me
there it
zoom
is.
in on this.
So,
So we got-
apparently
yeah.
on the
This.
left,
The
We-
center is what we saw in the trailer.
right, and everybody's angry that it doesn't. His head isn't
Doesn't look like-
longer.
Rebels with the ones here on the right and on the left
Right.
is Rebels. And
Yeah.
yeah, we saw some frustrated people that didn't like that it's not, bigger forehead. He's only got a forehead, not a 6 head.
Well, what about the nose? That's too short
Yeah,
too.
nose isn't
His
long
chin is too
enough.
thick.
Let's just critique everything. His jaw is definitely, normal. Like that's a normal actor.
The I was gonna say the only legitimacy to this whatsoever would just be like if someone wanted to say like, oh, I was surprised that they didn't cast someone with a
Yellow eyes.
unusually thin face. Like maybe it's like a
Or do a severe,
severe, like a
prosthetic
Christian Bale.
edit kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right.
do a Christian Bale, you lose 1,000 pounds.
Right.
I guess they could have done yellow eyes. That'd be the easiest thing.
It would.
But we
But-
saw 2 shots of him. How do we know he doesn't?
I was
at
gonna
a
say,
different scene?
and all that to say, this has been the most overblown thing I've ever heard because within an hour, if not sooner after the trailer, everyone's simultaneously losing their minds. Everyone agrees. I haven't heard anybody who saw this trailer and was like, I didn't like it. Everyone
No,
was
even people that
so
gave
excited.
this the Grand Inquisitor a hard time. Even everybody was saying, the trailer itself.
But
is
it
still
is funny
great.
that this has become such a big talking point about this
know.
when I've seen so many great examples. So to me, do you know how severe this is to me? Maybe even less severe than this. We've talked about this. All three of us. Nate hasn't read much Harry Potter. Uncle,
yeah.
we've read
I've
Harry
read
Potter.
a handful of them.
Nate can sit down. on
Really?
this one.
You haven't? Oh man.
I read a handful of them.
Okay. Well, let's have.
And by
let's
of he
pause
means
for just-
pages.
just-
No, I read a couple. I read the
Just kidding.
titles.
You did.
The titles.
no,
You hear this?
I'm kidding. I read at least 3 of them.
What I was
Oh,
gonna
okay.
say is
awesome. All right.
interesting when it's so prominent in the book that Harry
Yeah.
has green eyes.
It's an odd
It's an odd thing
that
that
they don't
do
just
it.
pop some context. in.
That to me is even more.
They made
of a
9 of
thing.
those, or 9 of those movies, right?
9 of those movies and didn't.
They should
and
have just
didn't-
switched his eyes to
Did it
green on the
affect-
9th one.
Still do it.
Did it affect the way that I love those movies in
Not
the
at all.
slightest? Not at all. Even
Yeah.
that though was more of like this is the main character, and a physical feature about him is very. They could have popped in contacts.
That's
They
right.
could have color correct. They could have done a million things, and they didn't do it.
Mhm.
So one, I just kind of trust like, oh, I wonder. That's an interesting choice.
Yep.
I didn't go the whole time. Well, that's not my Harry. My Harry's got green eyes. My 11-year-old Harry's got green eyes. Like
Right.
that's for this. We're seeing the Grand Inquisitor with twirling double red lightsabers like we saw in Rebels, and also I will say his voice, while it's not identical because it's not the same actor, it's not
Yeah.
Jason Isaacs who played him in
Mhm.
Rebels. I thought he sounded great. Like I thought he sounded. I
It
think this
gave off
char-
very
I think this-
Emperor vibes.
I think this
honestly.
character is
Yeah.
going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And I know people that are excited. I don't know a ton about Rupert Friend, I believe is the actor's name. He's been in some other things. I think he was in the show Homeland, which a lot of people like. But people that have seen him in other stuff were like, oh, no, this dude's great actor. He's going to be really good. And people
Awesome.
were really excited. So all this to say, it's so funny that this has become such a big thing when the character could be the highlight of the whole show.
Could be.
Yeah.
This to me is just interesting that people are already this up in arms, whatever about it. But also, people are comparing like, oh, we've already seen this, and again, I liked someone on the internet who said this doesn't look like Rebels or like the animated show, and someone else said, well, yeah, and also Dooku's face in real life is not one giant nose.
Right.
What type of a misshapen monster
Right.
would that be? If Christopher Lee had one giant nose like
Right.
this,
And that was going backwards. That was going from live action to animation. They could have
they had
made
the
it look
choice
exactly
to do
like
that.
it. Yeah.
Vader, you posted a pic. Vader's helmet, everything in Rebels is
Is a lot
is
thinner,
intentionally not look.
That's right.
The
Uncanny Valley.
lightsabers are
We gotta
little.
create some
The
distance. here.
lightsabers are little beams, like little twigs.
Yeah.
Like
That's right.
they're- all of that is
Yeah.
an intentional choice to make it a little bit different.
Exactly right.
But no one sees these and go, look at these regular lightsabers. Why aren't they the twigs? Why are they the little twigs?
I did see people comparing
You
some
can see 'em.
photos to those of this race that were shown in episode
in
3,
Revenge of
where
the Sith?
they looked more like the ones from Rebels with
I
the
get
longer
that.
thing.
So they're saying
I
that
get that.
went from 3 to Rebels.
So people are saying we already saw it live action. Why can't they? Why can't they just use what they had already kind of used before? And my first, obviously we haven't seen the show yet.
Right.
So my first thought is usually just to, I guess, give the benefit of the doubt rather
Yeah.
than be like frustrated. My first thought is, well, okay, they obviously did this for a reason. If you don't think they went and watched Revenge of the Sith before making them
an Obi-Wan.
That's
Obi-Wan
right.
show right after, they obviously
There
know
were Chow's
that.
like, daggone it, I should have.
They didn't just miss it or skip over
Should
it.
have paid
Oh,
attention.
it was longer. I thought it was fatter.
I thought they said
thinking Megamind.
not longer.
They said not.
No, but my first thought is
No longer.
maybe they, this character is going to have a very different role than the 3 of this race that we saw in episode 3, where they were in for one shot and they said a couple words.
Also,
He's going to be fighting.
have you seen how different all the Twi'leks look?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
They look so much different. Ahsoka
So-
looks way different than the shirtless buff Twi'lek who is
That's right.
like all,
Working in
all of
the-
them have. They all have a bunch of different just all of them look.
Yeah, I mean they obviously did what they did here intentionally,
Yeah.
knowing that it may not be identical to Rebels. And my
Yeah.
first thought is it's because they have a reason for it, and I'm just going to trust that they know the reason for it. It could be because he'll be in fighting scenes. We've seen him already igniting with his spinning lightsaber.
Yeah.
It's probably easier to move and do the scenes without having to have a
The
thing.
whole
I don't know.
prosthetic
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm
it
just trusting
feels-
in the fact that they obviously know what they're doing, and
It just feels a little
there's
bit
reason
like,
for it.
to me, and we're glass half full kind of guys. That's kind of our vibe.
I
right?
did
Yeah.
accidentally say moron earlier. I hope we can edit that out because
That's
that was a
true.
joke.
That was a joke.
That was
Joke.
true, and you feel bad about it.
Good.
Listen, guys,
we,
I've been off ever since I said it.
I hate podcasting.
Off, kind of like
course.
those morons who've been commenting. Ew!
Oh, he's back.
He's back.
No, it kind of feels like to me, like you know, in Christmas Vacation, when
Lost
Clark
it.
spends all that time putting the lights, and they don't work, and then they work, they don't work.
Yep.
25,000 lights, and they come to Art, and he's like, "The lights are not twinkling." It's kind of what it feels like. Like
Yeah.
all of the
Yeah.
spectacular, all the way, everything. The lights are not twinkling. I know, Art. Thanks for noticing. Feels a little bit like that.
Yeah,
Like,
a
let's
little
give
ungrateful.
let's give it some time to
Yeah.
settle in. Although the internet has a way of taking one person's thought, then somebody else takes it and turns it to level 2, and then somebody else takes it to level 4, and then in 2 days it's at level 10 and the world is on fire.
Yeah.
When really not all of these people
True.
think that
Yeah.
way. It has a way of making themes.
There have been a lot of
Things
funny
seem
jokes
bigger.
about it too,
And
I
then
love
we
that.
take them jokes and it goes another way. And so
Yeah.
I tend to think everybody's
Yeah.
that everybody's kind of more in the middle on this stuff.
Yeah.
But we hear about the exaggerated.
Totally.
story.
I mean, I'll be honest. When we first did our trailer reaction, you go back and watch it on our channel. My first thought was when I saw the first scene without
Yeah.
the lightsaber. I thought,
Right.
wait, is that? Because I noticed it obviously doesn't look
Exactly.
identical. So I was like, wait, is that? No.
Right.
And I was like, that is that? Like I was
I
thinking,
did
is that
too.
the Grand Inquisitor?
It
Maybe.
doesn't quite.
Because I knew it
Yeah,
didn't.
I
It
thought
wasn't
it looked-
identical. But then when I saw him with the blades, I was like, oh, that's him.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
But I
We're
think
gonna
yeah,
go
I
with
think
it.
you're both nailing it too. Of like when I saw him too, I was even like, oh, he
Here,
looks
I'll
different
pull it
than
back
I
up.
would have
Yeah.
imagined. And even
Right.
at first, I could like, huh, he definitely looks okay, like interesting.
Yeah.
And then again, they show in the second shot, and we get him a little more clear with the light, and I'm like, ooh, he looks better than I thought he did in the first shot.
That's
The
right.
first shot I thought
the-
had a weird angle too.
The angle looked like kind of low at first.
Yeah.
We also were trying to hear like, are we getting some because at first even the Grand Inquisitor were like, it felt almost a little Palpatine-esque as far as
Yep.
The voice.
and then they showed, and at first the first for a split second was Anakin without a helmet on, and then it was like, no, that's not,
That's what I thought.
right? It was just for, and again, very quickly, I was like, oh no, that's not it at all.
That's not
but
it.
But it was
Oh,
like,
man.
wait, what is that? So it wasn't as obvious to us who are fans of Rebels and know what we have seen the Grand Inquisitor look like in the past. Didn't look identical, so it will take some adjusting. But like you said, I think that it's just blown out of proportion. Where now some people are like, oh boy, they're really botching on this this guy already. I'm like, or it just looks a little different than you thought, and the show's going to be great, and the character's probably going to be great.
Right.
I also do think I can't help myself. I also do think it's funny when people are like,
Call people
Disney-
morons. Call
No,
people
they're-
moron.
I do think it's funny when people are like, oh, Disney, just
Can't
another
wait to
thing.
clip that out. Moron.
Never nobody ever see it. Oh wait,
Yeah.
this is live.
This is
Crud.
maybe. I do.
Crud.
We need a
Crud
mute button,
van.
mute ourselves.
Dang it.
No, I do think it's. I mean, I can't help but laugh sometimes when I see people like, oh wow, just another thing Disney's ruined about Star Wars. I'm like, you do remember Rebels was Disney.
It's the first Disney
Rebels
Right.
did Disney.
Yeah.
That wasn't
yeah, Disney did
Lucasfilm.
it, right,
or that
right.
wasn't that was Lucasfilm. But I mean, it wasn't
2014.
That wasn't prior,
This is
yeah.
This is right,
Right.
This
before.
is post Disney acquisition. They do Rebels, and then they're obviously taking the character that they made and now making it look like this.
Everybody
in
does
live
know
action.
that's a name, right? Disney is a name. Disney is not doing anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Walt Disney passed away in 1968. He is not doing anything. These are
Yeah.
people with the name Disney at the top.
This is
Right?
also
Right.
Lucasfilm has been purchased by Disney.
They
Kathy,
Still
moved
they
it.
Lucasfilm.
They
moved.
moved it over. It's got another name. but-
Filoni and Kathy were there.
right.
Ready? Watch this because this is hard to follow.
Now
now,
again.
Coloni.
Coloni.
George
Coloni. Buy
Clooney.
some Coloni. at
Dave
the-
Filoni with the Coloni. Right.
Now they are here.
Right.
They didn't go,
Yeah.
all the OG Lucasfilm people are out. And now it's just the mouse.
That's exactly right.
We're all going to make this look like Mickey Mouse. That's not what
They bought the
happened.
Yankees. They didn't buy the Yankees and then put Winnie the Pooh on the mound. They didn't. They bought the Yankees. That's what they did.
They got Winnie the Pooh playing first and Eeyore at shortstop.
The name's at the
That's not
top,
what it
but
is,
the
yeah.
whole thing is still like, as far as I know, Deborah Chow is not a. There's no Disney.
No, and
John
Deborah
Favreau.
Chow is
there
going
was
to crush
no
it with this.
Disney.
No.
It's just the name.
This is going to be.
so.
This will be the biggest, Star Wars show.
I
This will
think
be
so.
the biggest Star Wars show.
It's
gonna be great.
just
Mando, I think, has surprisingly been way better than I think they could have even
Yeah.
predicted.
yeah.
I think the following that Mando has gotten has been way
For-
bigger
for
than
the
they even
Kathy
predicted.
haters,
But this
blame
is just a
Mando.
whole. This
She's
is
in.
just different because of the nostalgia factor.
Yeah.
And this is
It
this
is funny how
gonna
the
be big.
Kathy haters though will tie something as small as it. Like, do you think Kathy has anything to do with what an Inquisitor's head looks like?
No.
She's like, no.
If you brought that to her, she would like, get out of my
What are you
office.
talking
I'm
about?
working.
What? Get out of here.
You make
Um,
that, and I'll do all this.
Like, but I was
I'm
gonna say
giving
the
the
fact
go
that
ahead on the
that
project.
people
Yeah.
love to hate, and again, not that everything has gone smoothly. They've obviously had director changes and some stuff that's happened, and that's just part of it. But I've always been under the impression that I would rather have there be projects dropped and director changes to get the right project and right
Yeah.
director in there,
Right.
than to go down a path of something that they're like, ooh, like. Well, I don't want to see whatever failed project they had that they all looked at and thought, yikes, we don't want to go forward with this.
Right.
I'm glad that we got what we got. And again, doesn't mean everything's perfect. I would argue that there's not a single
You-
perfect movie out there
For sure.
with all this. There's always different things to point at. But it's funny that Kathy only gets the blame for the negative headline where getting Favreau and Filoni.
Right.
Because they always are. People are
Right.
like, "Oh, why would Kathy hire Ryan Johnson to do this?" And now we're upset, and people are split, and that's Kathy. Kathy also saw John Favreau,
Right.
who
And
said
said, "Hey."
McClunky means curtains. No, but who said I want to do a Boba Fett? And she's like, no, but here are the keys to do this
Let's
thing,
do this.
and here is
Right.
a stud we have in our bullpen in Dave Filoni. and you two know each other from doing some stuff on the Clone Wars
Right.
before when John was voicing some of the characters.
Take it to live action.
Do this together and go, and any
Make
resource you
something.
need, I will help you, and there you
Yeah.
go. And then they crush it,
Make
and
it.
then people say, that's all Favreau and Filoni.
Favreau's,
and then
yeah.
Kathy gets nothing, but then something else where they put someone in there, and and
Right.
you get Robert Rodriguez, who loves a good twirl and spin, and people go, Kathy's ruining Star Wars. Do you think Kathy told them to do the twirl spin? I don't think so. Like
No.
it's just funny how people love to tie certain
Yes.
wins to certain people down here when it's convenient to a narrative, and then certain negative stuff only goes past all the actual creators all the way to the top. That doesn't make any sense.
I think you can sum up the Star Wars guys' mentality with one thing. This is a simple way to sum our and you tell me if I'm wrong.
Oh, I'll tell you.
Can I have a Coke, please? Is Pepsi okay? Sure. That's it.
Yeah.
You can go through your whole life going,
Perfect.
I guess.
or you can go, yeah. Or you might say,
I guess.
do you have Dr. Pepper? Okay, that Pepsi's great.
Right.
One night, I'm going to enjoy my dinner with a Pepsi tonight.
This is the perfect
It is
analogy.
nothing to get angry about.
This is
That is
Fine.
perfect.
Pepsi, whatever.
Is that a fair?
perfect.
If
I
that
think
a,
it's
Yeah.
great.
I mean, it's not.
I'm still
it's
having
not
a
maybe
great
what I
drink.
chose first,
Yeah.
but I can enjoy a Pepsi.
And sometimes
every now
it's-
and then.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's we don't have a full glass of Coke. We'll give you 3/4 of Coke
That's
and
right.
just a little bit of Pepsi to top it off. Darn. Why can't I get the full thing?
I
Well, we
know.
don't have the full
And
thing.
then sometimes
I'm looking at nothing. I've got
Like, the
water right
trailer's
now. A Pepsi would
fantastic.
be wonderful.
We get Duel of the Fates.
Right.
We get some good shots of Luke.
Yes.
The trailer was fantastic.
Yeah.
But the Grand Inquisitor.
And sometimes we get the surprises. The Book of Boba Fett's they get
Yeah.
announced in shows where we think we're sitting there about to have a nice dinner, and all of a sudden someone brings over food, and they go, that nice gentleman
By
over
the
there and
way-
his wife saw you guys and decided they wanted to pay for this. They saw it was your anniversary, and they want to pay for this cake for you. We're like, oh, great. This chocolate?
You guys have like a
chocolate.
cream
Like,
filling or something?
is this all chocolate? I mean,
Send it back.
ugh.
I guess.
Order something else, guy. Across the board. It was a surprise. This is a gift. We're getting more Star Wars in 2022. Take it.
That's right.
Also,
love
we
it.
have 100 other projects coming. We have
love it.
Acolyte. We have Ahsoka. We have Andor Season 2 already coming.
That's
Thanks to Stellan Skarsgård, who told all of us. All this stuff. Not everything is going to be your favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
Just take it and enjoy
That
it.
doesn't
Drink,
mean there's
drink your
it's-
Pepsi and shut up.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I'm just
moron.
Become the chant.
I'm just trying to bring
kidding.
everyone
doesn't
down.
mean that you just. We're not saying that you
Oh,
have to
man.
just like everything. If there's a certain
No.
movie, I mean, you've heard it on the podcast
I
before.
s-
Love The Last Jedi.
Right.
It's not a perfect movie. There's things about it I didn't like.
That's
There's things
right.
I maybe would have changed or done differently.
His
It's just more
Poe's little
fun to
interaction
like
with
it.
General Hux at the very beginning will never be my favorite thing about his mother.
yeah.
Not
Right.
my favorite, but okay, we get
No, it's
Yeah.
okay.
it. Eh,
But that doesn't mean I'm
doesn't
not,
mean I dislike
yeah.
the movie.
You just
Right.
move on. Just move on.
And even if you do
That's right.
dislike the movie, that's okay. But you
Yeah.
don't attack other people because they like the movie.
exactly.
Or call them
Morons.
morons.
Is this our next shirt?
Hey, how
You
come
know
our
him well,
subscriber
Uncle.
count
You
just
know
went
him
down like
well,
600?
moron.
Moron.
How did our subscriber count go down with like 600 over this? I don't get it. You know why?
All the ones we gained
These
in the
are
last
morons.
2 weeks are gone.
We need Nate to say to
kidding.
give us a moron.
Kidding.
He's the only one who hasn't
Oh,
called people
man, we'll
morons
get
yet.
there.
Oh,
man.
man, this has been
Hilarious.
fun.
Despite what you have heard, we are guardians of light.
we let,
Guardians of
our
the
compassion leaves a trail. That's what we said.
Light. Mike might
We
be
love that
teetering
line.
the Anakin line right
We
now.
love that line from the trailer. We said let's make that our motto. Our and we've added one word to the end of that. Our compassion leaves a trail. Moron.
This is the best.
Oh
Let's
my
undo every
gosh.
good thing we've ever
I
done.
love Parker's comment in the chat. Hey, Mike, Nate, and you know him well, Uncle
Hey.
Yeah.
Wait, who wrote that?
Parker.
Barker.
Jay
You do
Thomas,
know
this
well.
feels like a Seinfeld joke. It
Jay
does.
Thomas. That's
It
fantastic.
does.
Oh,
Yeah.
my
Thanks,
goodness.
guys. Thanks for
Oh man, so there you have it. That was our little rant about the
morons.
Grand Inquisitor. But there
can't
are.
Hey,
It
it's
just
fun.
keeps coming around.
I'll be honest, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
kinda
I dabble in the dark.
Dabble?
No.
There's But so
Yeah.
the two Inquisitors that we know
Yep.
that we did see in the trailer, Grand Inquisitor
Yep.
and Fifth Brother.
Fifth
we got
brother.
a glimpse of the 5th
Mhm.
brother. which he also looks different. I'm surprised everybody's not ripping him apart, but
Right.
that's what it is. What
If
it
he
is.
was the first,
People are
third,
picking and
fourth
choosing.
brother, they would have.
But we got 2 new ones.
Mhm.
2 new ones, and what was one of-
Reva.
Reva.
I don't know if it's
Reva?
pronounced Reva
Reva
or Reva.
And then
Reva.
there was another one too. right?
She seems like kind of the main one they're giving a lot of. I
Yeah.
think we're gonna get a big character thing there.
Yes.
A new,
and then there was another one that had some tentacle
unknown.
or whatever.
No,
that
not named yet.
couldn't get close enough on the
had
shot.
Some tentacle,
Had
something
something
coming down
coming
the
out the
back. But Reva's the one who comes around the corner and has that
Yes,
sick slide where she
oh,
kind of
man.
corners the guy. It looks like in that little
Mm-hmm.
maybe shop or streets of like under a tent in Tatooine or something.
Yeah.
The guy's running away and she goes. Just comes around immediately. I loved how many
Yeah.
sabers we got in this.
I know.
How, many-
It's
how long has it been
awesome.
since we've just seen a bunch of red lightsabers? It's just
That's awesome.
that's
Never.
awesome.
Really? Not live
Yeah,
action.
I mean, as far as
we
multiple
saw
red
them all,
lightsabers,
but not multiple of the
Uh-uh.
same. Yeah.
because even
Never. Well,
yeah, well,
we did
We
it
saw-
in Clone
yeah.
Wars.
and I guess we got Dooku and
Yeah. Well, I
and,
mean, live action.
live action.
Yeah, we didn't get
live
any
action Revenge of the Sith. We would have got Dooku and Sidious. Would have been the 2 red.
Dooku and Sidious. Yeah, because even
Yeah.
Anakin.
He's fighting with a blue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true. This is the most red lightsabers we'll probably see. Yeah, that's
Man.
crazy. And they're
Pretty
spinning.
cool.
I mean, come on.
do
Will we
we
get?
think?
I
Yeah.
know we said it. In,
That's
in
what it
the
is.
Trailer
I just figured it
reaction.
out. Saber spins. He clicks a button, and his head gets longer.
What
That's what happens.
Instead of taking
He's like,
off, his head just
his head gets up here and then just starts going. He's flying with his actual head.
That's how they fly with those sabers.
And they
We
did it on
thought,
purpose.
we thought
Just-
Rebels was a little ridiculous with the flying sabers. So they have flying propeller heads now.
elongated
Oh,
head
man.
propellers.
But yeah, so do we
Man,
see
can't
flying?
wait to see-
Will
I
we
think
see
we-
flying?
Don't we? With that spin, it feels like we.
It's like I wonder if it
Why
would
not
be
just
too
go up
goofy.
and-
I don't know.
I have a feeling we won't see it, but we will. I mean, we obviously saw the spinning
Never saw him
saber.
using it, so they teased it. It could happen. I think.
I think
Just
we'll
to make
see them all getting
go from
shot at,
move
and we'll just
to
be
another
blocking.
spot. Maybe come in for an attack or something. Not like
Yeah,
Not like taking
not
off.
Mary Poppins just coming out of
Right.
the clouds. Just,
I went back and rewatched the clip from Rebels where they're at the temple with Maul,
Yeah.
and one of them gets hit off, and then you just see him flying away, and then the 5th brother just goes, and just hops off.
takes
and
off.
They
just
just-
takes off.
Let's
they're
go.
out of there.
I'm like, oh man.
I love it.
That's cool.
I don't. I mean, maybe jumping off is something, but I don't think we'll see him flying. Maybe
Yeah.
gliding down, if anything. I don't think we'll see him flying though.
So how do we feel? Let's transition a little bit here. How do we feel about seeing young Luke, the
Oh
youngest
my
Luke
God.
Skywalker we've ever seen, aside from him as an actual baby?
I mean, our
Revenge of
reaction,
the Sith.
Luke.
I know
Yeah.
it.
And him acting like Anakin, doing some pod.
The pod
I
race.
told you that's the
Right.
one thing I need.
Will we see? Will we see Luke?
Give me a little
Pod
OG
racing.
Baru.
Oh no, pod racing's not a thing.
think it's
at this
outlawed.
point.
Wow.
It's
It's
outlawed.
out-
Yeah, you're
yeah.
right. It's outlawed.
But it's it's like remember the Potter? He's like doing like
Yeah.
remember
True.
those things.
Yeah.
I would
Man.
love if he could find out that his dad used to do that.
Will we see Luke working on like any droids or like any mechanical stuff like
Little Tashi
like
Station?
Little Annie did?
Little Annie or little Luke
Tashi
at Tashi
Station.
Station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And he finally gets his
Big
power
tank or
converters.
older than him. He looks up to him.
Yeah.
Give us a younger, yes. Give us some young Cammy Fixer since they
awesome.
threw them into Boba Fett as the
Yeah.
from the deleted scenes.
Yeah.
From, but yeah, give me some young Biggs
Right.
Yeah.
for sure. Give
Young
me some young.
Biggs. That's
Maybe
right.
he's still got a nice mustache. He's just
Mhm.
Biggs
Yeah.
has always had a nice. He's like 12 years old. Thick mustache going.
So cool.
Oh,
It's like
man.
Pedro from Napoleon. How long it take you to grow that mustache? Yeah, a couple of days.
Couple of days.
It's big.
Hey, it's okay.
It's
Oh,
awesome. But
man.
but
Will Luke ever get those power converters?
oh
Could be
man,
Could be.
Maybe.
I think
Yeah.
because we're gonna hear stories. So he hears about pod racing. Right?
Yeah.
No stories about pod racing. He's gonna hear stories about the Jedi and Order 66 and all that stuff is gonna make its way
Yeah.
there. It's got. I mean, those rumors and stories that kind of drift around. The kid's like, is he gonna be playing? Is Luke gonna be playing games as a Jedi or as a soldier or I don't know.
I love that
Because
this is
kids play that
already.
stuff when they're young.
This is already
Yeah,
tying
yeah.
into the Yoda never his mind on here on where he was, what he was doing. He's already thinking
already
beyond.
someplace
He's
else.
already looking into the
He's
stars.
already looking
yeah.
into the stars. He's already looking.
Is he
to
pod
get up.
racing or is he
Oh.
flying a ship?
That's what I'm saying. He
He could be
either.
flying
He
a
could
ship.
Be, he's,
I-
'cause he had two
true.
hands. He's,
I do like
right.
that he had the goggles on too, because that was a
That's-
direct tie to young Annie
yes.
with the goggles.
Yeah.
But you mentioned this maybe when we did our trailer reaction. Will we see Luke walking out and staring at the twin suns setting and showing that that's like you were talking about looking into the stars and always just his mind is just always out there leaving Tatooine. Will we see Luke as a boy, as a young kid now doing the same thing and thinking this? He's always been like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's always done that. He's always looked and longed for
Got
adventure.
too much of his
and-
father. in
Yeah.
him.
I think I've said that on the podcast before. That I think that is my single favorite moment in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is just the.
The
There's so
theme.
many things. There's 100 things in Star Wars I could say is my favorite moment, but that I go back to all the time. Is just frustrated young Luke. He's kicking the dirt, and he walks over and puts his leg up, his knee up, kind of on the little incline, and he's looking off, and then he's just staring off.
That's
Because
awesome.
it's both like every time I get it, it's like chills and inspirational,
Yeah.
but it's also just like that. You never know what life's gonna throw at you. That adventure out there, what's around the next turn, and Luke just feeling like there's something more here I haven't
I
got
know
to
there's
yet.
something there.
There's always just that adventure. I just
Yeah.
remember that being like the epitome of just like adventures. That moment of like
yes.
feeling like there's something like a big destiny or like a big like you got big stuff coming and that just gotta
Yeah.
get out of here. I just thought that was always I love it.
I
And
would-
just the score is just unreal.
I think we might.
The
I think
theme.
we might see that shot because how many times like when I was a kid, I had a place I would like go and like sit and look
Yeah.
at. Like,
Yeah.
There was a tree I always used to climb, and I could climb that
We
tree,
call-
and I could look down 2 blocks down the street, and I used to go up there all the time. It was cool.
Yeah.
Why would that not be? Why would that be the first time he's ever walked out feeling like I'm just so tired of this place?
Mhm.
There's something out there. I know I'm made for more than this. It's not the first time he's ever thought that.
Yeah.
Walks right out there and looks at that sunset. It's got to have
Yeah.
happened before.
Gotta be.
Yeah. I would love to see
So
it.
why
It's
not?
gotta
Why
be.
can't we watch one?
Man.
Show
I
us.
wonder
one
if we'll
more of
ever,
those.
if we'll, maybe we won't see it in this because Luke is so young and it's more focused on probably Obi-Wan. But
Yeah.
I wonder if there'll be ever like any glimpse of kind of like Ray's perspective of like I've always known there's something there
Yeah.
inside me, but
Mm-hmm.
I never knew what it was. But I don't know.
And we don't really hear much about his force sensitivity as a child.
No.
Yeah,
It doesn't
that's
come
what I mean. Like
up
if
that
it, yeah.
much. You know.
And Luke, Luke throughout New Hope, he's kind of like the Force, huh?
Right.
He's not, he doesn't get like I've always known there was something there.
That's right.
Right.
It is. It's
Yeah,
very
that's-
different than
Yeah.
Luke's is very. It's probably the least of anybody we've seen.
At least notice like he
Well,
didn't even know about
When
it.
he says, like, we always took it for granted, like, when he says that's impossible even for a computer, right?
Yeah.
And Luke says, I used to bullseye womp rats with my T16 back home.
Yeah.
We used
Yeah.
to think, well, yeah, then it's easy. It could be the exact opposite.
Could be
Maybe the
Right.
fact
Luke
that he's doing that
is
is
unreal.
quite special,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So we might see moments where he's doing things that demonstrate
True.
like he's just got abilities that
Yeah.
just not
That he doesn't
normal.
realize,
Just
yeah.
like coincidences work. Like
he just
things
thinks it's like natural talent as
Right.
opposed to like, but it's above average.
it's above average.
Yeah.
I think we may, if we
Yeah,
ever have
same.
any encounters, again, it's Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Right. So I don't know if we'll see all that, but
but
yeah.
why not?
When we were talking about the Inquisitors too, it made me think, and I hadn't thought about this before. I was thinking we got Darth Vader's, breathing at the end of the trailer,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And I started thinking, what will be the first scene that we actually see him, and how will we do it? Will it be with Obi-Wan and Vader? Will that be the first time, or will we get a cut where we see Vader, what's going on here, and then where Obi-Wan's at? And then it made me think, and then I don't know why I hadn't thought of this before, but the Inquisitors are obviously after Obi-Wan and the
Mhm.
remaining Jedi. What if he actually does get caught? What if Obi-Wan actually does get caught by the Inquisitors? And Vader's sending them out, but they're not on a mission to kill him. Vader's sending the Inquisitors out of, no, I want him alive
Don't
because
kill
he's
him.
mine.
I need him alive.
He's mine. And
want
that's
them
where
alive.
we lead to their whether he breaks out and then they end up having his encounter with Vader. But that's
Yeah.
what reunites their,
Well,
interaction
remember
again.
when Luke met Vader in Jedi, he gave himself up
Right.
Yeah.
because he wanted he wanted to meet
Right.
him again.
Right. I feel like this is different. I don't feel like Obi-Wan's going to want to give himself up. It's
Right.
more hiding to protect Luke, but maybe he does realize if I give myself up, they won't come here and look for Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe yeah. So it just made me think, what if I hadn't thought about that before.
Gets
Like, what if
caught?
he actually gets caught? I kind of always had this idea of him going to pursue Vader to try and turn him back to the light, but what if that happens because he just gets caught and is brought back there?
I
don't know.
love what they hit on in the trailer about the fact that both the blessing and the curse essentially of being a Jedi is that a Jedi, because they are guardians of the light,
It's like an itch.
it's like an
Grand
itch.
Inquisitor.
Their compassion leaves a trail, and like they cannot sit back. So like there's gonna be such an interesting, I think, dynamic of. They've shown some of these clips of Obi-Wan. It looked like one on Tatooine and one on that new planet, like the more urbanized kind of social nightlife planet.
Yeah.
Where he's got his hood on and he's watching something happen and he's kind of just blending around in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And I love just the moral dilemma that he has of like,
Do I let
this happen and watch
Yeah.
someone die as a Jedi? Do I let that happen if I think that the greater good is that I have to be here no matter what? I can't die now because I have to protect Luke or I have to preserve
Right.
the Jedi.
Yep.
But at the sake of an innocent person here, or because it does seem like in the trailer they're already hinting at Obi-Wan, like quote unquote slipping up, or like that he saved someone
Can't
he
help
shouldn't
it.
have, or he intervened, and because of that he got on their radar,
Mhm.
and that they're able to track some
Right.
of the things that he's doing because of this, and that you can't. We don't know just based on the little bits and pieces, but it looked like there was even like the Jedi Order emblem on like etched into a wall that the Reva was like kind of looking at.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's Obi-Wan leaving marks. It's like, hey, any remaining Jedi, come find me.
Yeah.
This is Master Obi-Wan Kenobi.
'Cause he's
What's
still
because
trying.
he does.
Yeah.
He's still
he's
trying
still
Not
to
trying
return
to
to
see
the
who's
temple.
out there.
Yeah.
That's Obi-Wan's mission is twofold,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
He's trying. He's Luke to safety, but he's then also trying to. Maybe he's not
Right.
just hiding. Maybe
He's trying
he's
to rally
trying
the
to
troops to try to
And it makes
trying to find who's
get
out
out
there.
of
Right.
Jedi's safety.
And
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of touching on how many Jedi we might see that are still alive in the series. I feel like if we do see whether it's, Yoda or even if we see other Jedi that are still alive in the show, it won't be them gathering or at the same time, because then I feel like, well, they would have just gathered and they would have just started rebuilding right then.
That's right.
So I don't think there'll be like a gathering or group, but like you're saying, leaving the trails or like this, or like just checking in, trying to get an idea of how many of us are still out there.
Yeah.
Seems more realistic, I feel like, than just like them all gathering, which because like Yoda's probably staying on Dagobah, right? He's so I don't know. I feel like what you're saying of leaving the trails, seeing the touching of the Jedi symbol, like that type of stuff, could lead to him twofold: saving Luke, protecting Luke, but also who else is out here,
Mm-hmm.
and how can we, continue to survive? But
Yeah.
It's also great because he hates blasters. Now he has to just fight with a blaster. Because as soon as he brings the saber out, it's a dead
It's
giveaway.
Fallen
you're a Jedi.
Order.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
That's what
It's
happened
exactly
in Fallen
what it
Order.
is.
That's how Cal
Yeah.
was
It's Fallen
discovered.
Order. It's
it's exactly how Cal was discovered.
Rebels with the backstory of Kanan, and even
That's
Kanan
right.
talks about how like
We see that come-
and same thing with Grogu. Grogu's
Right.
a little bit different because he was so young, but Kanan and Nate, what's the novel? What's the Rebels novel that we read? The
New Dawn.
New Dawn. New Dawn. We talk about Kanan. Kanan's working and there's like a big he's undercover.
Yeah, it's the exact
There's a
same
big
thing.
accident and that was gonna like kill a bunch of people, and he instinctually used the Force and saved a bunch of people.
Yeah.
But then they got out. Like use the
That's
Force, it's
it.
done.
Mhm.
And now he's on the run. And he has to.
Right.
But for the longest time, it was like, and Kanan was even like live his life just like kind of like a bum, like just blend in.
Right.
Don't like.
Yeah.
And I
Not
could
even
see-
really fully trained. It was like,
yeah, it was just like
what do I make of all this? And they're after me.
And they're after me.
Right.
But as soon as Obi-Wan
Yeah.
pulls out that lightsaber, that's it. You don't have lightsabers, especially in this time, unless you're one of the Inquisitors.
It's like
or
putting
you're a
on the
Jedi.
ring.
It is.
Right.
The Nazgul. Like,
It
dive
will help
right
you in that
man.
moment,
Exactly.
but they'll haunt
It
you
can
down.
save you in that
That-
moment,
that's-
but
it
they know
also gives you
exactly
away.
where you
Hunt you
are
down.
now.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so that just I'm ready for that tension. And There's
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of overall
Man.
the feel of the show already just feels. And again, I don't mean it negative towards any of the other shows because I love what Favreau and Filoni are doing with both
Just the
Mando
scale
and
of
Book of
this.
Boba. I don't feel like it's gonna I don't feel based on there's such a seriousness to it because it is such a dark.
Yeah.
Not to say there aren't any moments of comedy or levity that'll happen in the show. Maybe there will be, but I think it would feel very weird and out of place. Like, I don't think the mayor's major domo would fit in the show at all.
Yeah.
No.
Like it doesn't feel like that's that.
I
Type.
heard he's
don't-
in it,
I
actually.
don't feel like Obi-Wan's just going to be going to villagers and he's like cracking
Young
jokes
Domo's
and
in
stuff.
it.
And
I don't.
I don't think it's that show at all.
Yeah.
And I think for good reason.
Yeah.
I think this should feel and looks like it does so far.
We're gonna see young Domo in Luke's class at
Young
school.
Domo. Doing Luke's class and Luke's
Man.
in there like, hey, do you got those notes? And he goes, apologies. You can't look at my
No,
notes.
no
Apologies. My accent. He starts doing his rings, even as like a 12-year-old. He's got all his rings. But
like
Biggs with
moron.
a giant stash.
Moron.
Biggs, who's matured way faster than anyone.
Biggs is leading the class.
Biggs is
Back
the
in the
9-year-old with a
Very
thick
good
mustache.
class.
Hate this
Biggs is so cool.
Biggs is
Biggs is so cool.
Shut up and eat your cookies. Lars.
Lars.
Luke Lars.
Oh man, but
Right.
we've been talking about the trailer for a while and even going way past that. But one of the biggest things I loved about the trailer was just the feel of it. The feel of it feels very clear what the tone is. It feels like a continuation of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
As far as that, leading into the spark of there being I don't think this is going to be a super uplifting show, but it's supposed to be enough there that shows that there's Obi-Wan, because Obi-Wan's, especially Ewan said in his interviews, like the Obi-Wan we get at the beginning of the show is broken and like
That's right.
lost all
Right.
of his faith. Like
You hear it in the quote.
You hear it.
Where we lost.
we lost. The fight is done. We lost.
Defeated.
Yeah.
Does Obi-Wan doubt? Is Obi-Wan doubting the whole Jedi Order?
Kind of like we saw Luke, you mean?
Yeah. Is he like? Does this even? Do we even keep?
Like, did we build this? Like, is he looking
Yeah.
at Anakin and
All of
thinking,
this
it'd be
happened
interesting
right
to-
under our
Right.
noses.
does he look at that?
Everything,
Yeah.
all this was going on the entire
They had
time,
hundreds
and
of
we
Jedi,
ma-
if
like
not
we
more.
helped it happen.
They had
We
so
helped.
many Jedi. And
I
it was
helped.
I
defeated by that.
recruited the
Yeah.
army that did it.
Yeah.
I brought all that. I brought that clone army over here.
Yoda flew in.
Right. That's a whole nother
I mean,
thing.
I
Yoda
cooked
flew
the
in
whole
with the
thing.
clone army.
Right.
Yoda went and got him and
I
flew in
found
with
him.
the clone
Yeah.
army.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
found them, and they're the two that survived. They've
Right.
got it both. I mean, like we always talk about Obi-Wan's guilt. Yoda has
Yoda
to
said
have
he
failed.
failed.
I mean, he said he failed, but also, but not just failed of this. Like
He's like, I
Yoda
failed.
has
I failed
needs
the Republic.
Some
Yeah.
reflecting on like, ooh, you mean that guy who I was doing those Monday morning briefings with was the guy we were looking for all along,
That's the guy?
Palpatine? And I
Right.
didn't sense him at
Yeah.
all.
Except
Yeah, there's
in
a lot of
episode, in
failure to go
episode 2, he looks at him like he gives him that look like
Yeah.
I was just watching it. They're like, I don't like the way he talks,
Yeah.
And they don't.
but they don't. Ever.
Anakin, you want to spy on him because we don't trust the Emperor. Anakin, you need to go spy on him. But no, we won't go have a conversation
Of
with him.
course
Oh, we also
not.
don't trust.
No.
We also don't trust you.
We don't trust you. We don't trust him. You feel
So
like a
let's
good
put you
pair.
guys
Let's put you together and see if you can wreck the galaxy.
I was also watching
Two
too. We're
adults
like,
in the
you
room
know,
go handle this.
I was
Yeah.
also watching too. We're like, we need someone to escort the beautiful young teenager off of the planet. Let's send the young teenage boy who's in love with her
Yes.
off together, and then forbid attachment at the same time.
Forbid attachment and
You
who's
two go off together
who's not
and
only
do
in
not
love
do
with her,
anything.
clearly is already crossing
Right,
the line
right,
with
right,
it.
right, right.
Sorry, my lady.
Right.
Don't stare at me like that. Why? Makes me
Why?
feel uncomfortable. Sorry, my lady.
Sorry.
Okay, creep. Easy, easy. Just back.
Yeah.
That's when Obi-Wan needs to go. Anakin,
So-
that was a bit much.
Let's
Yeah,
talk
calm down.
about all of, as I'm thinking about this, let's talk about all of Obi-Wan's failures. Because they are,
I think Obi-Wan.
maybe the,
He's got
he's got, there's so many things.
not only. Just,
I love
mean,
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Love Obi-Wan.
This is
But-
why I think Obi-Wan's one of the best characters.
And here, what I'm,
Because he
let
does
me
experience
clarify.
so many.
Let me clarify.
He's a failure.
I don't think these all,
He's a failure.
I don't think these all fall at his doorstep.
No.
What I think is he feels like they all fall.
Yes.
These
True.
are things Obi-Wan blames himself
He would
for.
Yeah.
say, I failed.
I failed.
I
Yeah.
think, and because of those
There's quite a
things,
few.
whether it was his
Satine?
fault or not, I think Obi-Wan has,
Qui-Gon?
aside from Anakin, the most tragic story. aside from Anakin and actually turning to the dark side
Right.
of someone that did not,
Right.
he's got to have the most. I mean, he's lost.
He just
everybody.
mentioned 2 more. I hadn't even thought of.
I mean,
Yeah.
you got Qui-Gon.
Satine.
Qui-Gon
I mean,
feels
even-
like a failure.
Even though Qui-Gon is his
Yeah.
master, he's
He
he's
wasn't
got to be
in the fight.
He's got to be thinking,
wasn't
why
in
didn't
there
I
to
use
save
that
him."
speed run I used 2 hours ago?
Right.
He wasn't in there. He
Yeah.
wasn't there to save him.
Wasn't in
Yeah.
there.
Satine.
Satine,
Satine.
obviously Anakin.
Anakin.
All of the whole whole Jedi Order.
Yeah.
Not that it falls on him, but he's like, this happened because of my relationship with Anakin, my failure to step in against, even against
Yeah.
Palpatine. Like, this stuff happened very close to me, and yet all these people, Padme was a very close.
Yeah.
Even though Padme's much closer with Anakin than she is, well, but she's a very good friend to Obi-Wan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that losing her, that crushes him too.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
How about and I mean later on we get to A New Hope. This is after this, but just other stuff. Lars.
Right.
I mean, he's gonna feel some guilt with that too.
That's exactly
But
right.
I guess that's after this. But I got one that might
Yeah.
shock you. Maul. Even though Maul was bad, he just
But
like Anakin, he didn't
still-
finish him.
That's right.
I mean, there's not much more he could have done.
That's right.
Let's be honest. That was kind of a retcon thing, but they decided to bring Maul back.
But there's a lot in between there that Maul was able to.
But Maul was able to do, and then we see that play out in Clone Wars where he's like, Maul, like, it is you. You're still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And we see his whole manipulation with Crimson Dawn and getting involved in the Clone Wars and why Ahsoka had to go fight
That's right.
Mandalore and couldn't go help with Anakin.
Yeah.
Like, all of this comes together, and we see that play out with Maul, too, but I just think it's interesting because that's the opposite side of the coin, but a scenario where he could look at it similar to Anakin of like,
Mm-hmm.
here's another person I came across that didn't die that led to a lot of this destruction,
Mm-hmm.
and then his own Padawan and Anakin. But yeah, tough. Satine,
A lot.
Satine, he definitely feels guilty. I mean, what's the quote? He said he would have left the Jedi Order if she
She'd asked.
if she said the word. He would have left.
Yeah.
So he didn't because he tried to stay true to the Jedi.
But
if
here's
she
That's the
had said
dilemma.
it,
Do I stay and try to reform, or do I leave? And
that's the difference between him and Anakin.
that's right.
Anakin tried to do both.
Anakin tried to do
This
both.
Obi-Wan
is-
knew the difference and said, I got to choose.
Right.
I'm either going to stay with the Order,
Mhm.
or if you want me to leave, I'll leave. But I
Yeah.
can't do both
Right.
because it won't work out.
Right.
This is why Obi-Wan's such a great character, though, is that, like you said, he's maybe experienced more heartache
Yeah.
and reason for doubt and reason for just complete
The
giving
fact
up
that he didn't turn.
than anybody. Maul thought for sure,
Man.
when I do this to Satine, it's because it'll break him.
Yeah.
Didn't break him. Crushed him like emotionally. Didn't break him as far as his will, and he was more focused than ever on what the Jedi need to be.
Still held true to
Um,
what he thought was right.
He's always a
man.
defender of the light, no matter what. I think that this show is gonna explore more of obviously how much it really wrecked him and like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the turmoil, and now he is facing. But we do know where he comes out on the other side of this is he does believe in Luke, and he believes in that cause, and the
Man.
dude is dedicated to
Yeah.
the long game. Who spends 19 years not just on Tatooine, but or 17 or whatever, how many years Luke is.
Yeah.
He's there for that many years, just to set up the person who can do what he knows he can't do.
Yeah.
Like he's doing all this stuff. I just think that he's always. That's what Obi-Wan's always been one of my
He's
favorite
level-headed.
characters. But I like him because he's not a perfect character. He's
Yeah.
arrogant
Right.
sometimes. He's
Yes.
cocky,
Yeah.
so uncivilized. He's doing this whole
Yeah.
hello there in front of all the
Mhm.
troops, and he's got some flair
Yeah.
to him. He's a little bit of a social butterfly. He likes the bars in Coruscant.
Yeah.
Like he's a little bit of the nightlife type of
You don't
thing.
want to
So-
summon it as
Man, you are setting up something in my mind that's really kind of wild.
We'll go for it.
You are
I got nothing
you
better
are
than that.
describing a person, and this happens when you face tragedy that you feel you are responsible for.
Yeah.
When old Ben is the opposite of everything you just said.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
secluded. He doesn't spend time with other people.
No.
He lives a humble life, almost like a monk
Yeah.
who has said, "I'm not going to go."
I have my purpose, and
He's the
that's
first
it.
I'm
Jedi
gonna-
that any of us were ever exposed to.
And everybody thinks he's weird. He's a loner. He's a weird old guy.
Yeah.
That's not the same. That's not the same guy. And I think we see the shift from hello there. That's not the guy.
Yeah.
That guy's gone.
Mm-hmm.
That I just don't feel like we're gonna have that jovial, joyful, positive. He's gonna be fighting through all of these negative emotions and all of this difficulty, and it's gonna feel heavy. I think it's gonna feel heavier.
Yeah.
I think it is. But at the same time, he's gonna have an opportunity now to, in a way, correct a lot of the things that went wrong before. And I think I really think all of this time this is training for Luke. I think he's training him I think there may be training going on in the shadows, things that are happening around Luke he doesn't know, that are aware, where Obi-Wan is like almost like angels going ahead of him, where there's difficulty, where Obi-Wan can actually clear a path, take away obstacles, put obstacles in his way that kind of keep him going, but does it all without really saying anything. And then ultimately this is going to transform the way we think of episode 4, because Obi-Wan all up to this time, every victory was won through battle. Never was the victory won through sacrifice, personal self, but that's what he does in episode 4.
Yeah.
He wins. He realizes the pathway is now not through winning, but through losing.
Yeah.
And that's
what fully gets Luke on board.
And that was the best lesson
sacrifice.
he taught Luke, because that's what Luke brought to
what
Jedi.
Luke did. Yeah.
He brought that same mentality to Jedi.
Yeah.
So, man, I think there's going to be a lot of, I think that we're just going to see a lot of more introspect. The Obi-Wan from 1, 2, 3, different guy. He's moving into old Ben. He's going to be different.
And I think and they're doing such a great job, because I did just watch like a little interview clip of Ewan McGregor seeing what he looks like.
Yeah.
They make him look noticeably older in this trailer than he does in reality. Like in reality, especially that last shot when they show him. He's got even like it looks like almost a little gray
some
coming on the
grays,
side.
some
The
wrinkles,
lines are deeper. And I was looking at him, and I actually thought for the first time, like,
he does
I
look
can
a
see
little
old Ben. Like I can even they're making him look a lot. Again, he's not clearly full Alec Guinness white yet, but it's like the leap does not seem far anymore.
Right.
Even though in reality, Ewan McGregor still looks great as ever. Like he doesn't look that old as they make him in this, especially at the end. He looks like he's even on the show is aging and But one of the things I was just thinking of when you're talking about episode 4, in the way this stuff always just makes you look at the deeper thing. I don't know if I've ever spent a ton of time thinking about the fact that, because when I first experienced episode 4, I obviously didn't know the big reveal of Vader being Luke's father yet, because I didn't know that until Empire, and until Jedi did not know that Luke and Leia.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting now when we're talking about the timing and Obi-Wan and him waiting, and like he's been told to stay away. How much more of a clear message from the Force, or whatever you want to call it, is it to Obi-Wan than, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. And it's Luke Skywalker sitting there and his sister who is delivering the message. And it's the two people that he's just spent his entire last 19 years watching out for.
Now's the time.
And that he knows Bale is watching out for her, but he's probably gone and checked on her. And Luke, he's been watching out for. It's R2 delivering the message. It's like it's just so clear. I was gonna say, in all the years of me watching it, I don't know how much I've ever spent thinking about the fact that when Luke's watching that, he's watching, because when I'm watching it as the first time, I'm thinking there's the princess,
right,
and there's Obi-Wan, and there's Luke,
and Luke's just in awe of like, who is that?
And then later when I connect it, I connect the when I watch Return of the Jedi, I feel that they're brother and sister in all their scenes, but I don't initially go back to the initial and take it back to the beginning and think this is Obi-Wan, who's been patiently waiting and being as pure, like as much of a Jedi and as he can possibly be. And then R2, I don't recall ever owning a droid, wink. R2's back. He delivers, help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. And she is literally asking him back into the fight. And she doesn't even know she knows that he fought with his father in the Clone Wars, and she doesn't know the extent of.
I was gonna say,
right?
We don't know the extent of what he's done to protect her.
Yeah, I was gonna say
she doesn't
that
know about her
reminds
brother
me.
Luke. She doesn't know she has a brother.
I was gonna say that point you're making too makes me wonder, how much does Leia actually know about Obi-Wan? Obviously, you mentioned the Clone Wars, but makes you think. How much did Bail Organa tell Leia about?
I think he told her everything.
Especially for her to think, "You're my only hope. You are our only hope."
She knows he's a Jedi.
Is we need. Yeah.
She obviously couldn't
Clearly.
know about Luke, or else she wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean,
Right.
I'm talking about Obi-Wan though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much? Yeah. I don't know how much
Man,
she
they're
actually.
gonna
knows
fix
now.
that too.
There's just so much.
So
it
Rhett
adds.
kind of gets a bad rap. I kind of like it. Let's fix some stuff.
I
Let's,
like to add adding
let's
more.
just take the
context,
Chevy out
building
and
up.
fix the tires while we're at it. It's gonna make
Brett
sense.
kind of gets a bad rap. Let's fix it though.
But think about it. Like all that stuff he said, I'm like, we're calling any droids. Like maybe that's part of the plan. That was the whole point.
Yeah.
You can't let anything go because you're still trying to keep him out of all this stuff.
Yeah.
You can't go, oh yeah, that's R2D2. You know R2D2? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh,
actually, your uncle told me not to
I
tell you
mean,
this.
no, I
I
don't
know.
really know who that is.
Yeah.
It's all
Right?
parties just
It
being
opens
like,
up
Yeah.
a huge astromech can of worms that you can't.
Astromech can
Oh yeah,
worm.
and C-3PO. Yeah, he's
I know
been
him
there before.
too, right? You can't.
Yeah.
That's why Owen can't say it either.
Yeah.
Same reason. He can't say, "Oh, I know this droid,"
Yeah.
because your father Anakin brought
Yeah.
it here.
Around here and actually built
3PO was
3PO.
wiped, so
yeah. So 3PO
Owen
doesn't
can't.
remember.
Owen can't then revisit all that in front of Luke.
Right.
He's trying to avoid all of that. So, it to me, this is going to explain all of that. We're going to have moments of like, I can't let him know anything about the past because I don't want him going off at all. Is it possible that it was never the plan? It was never the plan for Luke to face Vader. It was never the plan. The plan was for Luke to stay here and
Yeah.
protect him. And when he's old enough, I'll train him, or someone will train him, or maybe not train him. Just keep him safe. And then when Leia came with R2, Obi-Wan was like, well, now we have to
We
go.
gotta go now.
So you got to come
also-
with me.
It's also great that
Yeah.
even in that moment, Obi-Wan does the classic Jedi thing and always gives him a choice, though.
Yeah.
You must do what you feel is right, of course. Like it's just even still
Yeah.
like, listen, if you're not
Even
with us,
that,
you're
I
not-
think, is like you said, is him training.
Yeah.
that's a lesson
that's
right
a
there.
test. It's like, what do you feel? What is the Force telling you?
Mm-hmm.
And Obi-Wan is almost third party hearing that Force move through Luke in that moment. Of
Yeah.
Like, is it time? Because what's the Force telling you?
Right.
Luke doesn't know it's the Force, but Obi-Wan might know. What does your heart tell you? Are you feeling that you need to go and help? And if he answers yes, then Obi-Wan knows, all right, now's the time.
Yeah. That's right.
Mm. Yeah.
That's right. Man, I think that are we gonna see Alderaan? We see Alderaan?
I would love to see.
I would
I would
love
love
to.
to see.
Why not? Wouldn't
Even
we-
if it's brief. Like I don't think we're gonna get full episodes of just a bunch of young Luke stuff because this is the Obi-Wan show and they've been promoting.
Right.
But I do think it's such a part of it that I think that we will. Obviously, they showed it in the
Yeah.
trailer. But I do think that it makes sense to check on a young Leia, or because I think they confirmed Bail Organa that Jimmy Smits is in the show.
That's right.
So that.
Oh,
that-
really? I didn't
yeah.
know
So,
they-
that
So then, like, who is that,
that
Daddy?
essentially
This is
confirms-
Obi-Wan Kenobi. I fought with him in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he also.
True. Because they're not.
Sense.
I mean, his side of Alderaan's not. They're not hiding their political stance.
Right.
Which is why they're the planet to get blown up.
Yeah, because
You
they're
know, Bale's not like he's playing the political game. He's not just going. And there's some stuff that go deeper in the books and stuff. But they're not like Lost Stars touches on Leia
yeah.
a little bit and
Yeah.
her role as the princess and
Yep.
and being discreet, but also basically
Yeah,
not
not-
necessarily just full on board with the empire
right.
either. It's like very
Yeah.
kind of working with the rebellion there too.
Yeah.
But the
I
rebels,
think
but-
I believe I think any of these elements that further Obi-Wan's the storyline. But think about it. What does Obi-Wan Kenobi need? What does he need? Obi-Wan needs hope. It's
Yeah.
not the hope of the galaxy. Obi-Wan needs
Needs
hope. He needs it. That's what Luke brings him. That children do that. They give you hope for like, oh,
Oh yeah,
it's gonna go on. We can keep
Mhm.
going.
yeah,
Leia would do that for Obi-Wan.
yeah.
Just
Both
to
of them.
see that she's okay.
funny
to
you
see
say
that,
that.
she's safe. He's like, oh, I feel better already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it furthers his mission, his purpose, everything about him is
It's
by
funny you
seeing
say
her,
that,
that would
too.
help. That
It's
would
funny you
help.
say that too because Kathleen Kennedy came out with a quote like a couple days ago. I saw people spreading it around, and it was about she said they had an original script that they scrapped and they changed the script a little bit.
Like over the last few years, right?
Yeah,
saw that
over the last few years for this series.
Yep.
Because she said the initial script had the series being a little too bleak. It needed more hope. And I saw some people were, Star Wars people take things,
right,
to extremes on both sides. Some people were like, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like that's kind of the purpose of this show is like we know it's going to be bleak. Like that's kind of what we're expecting to see.
And then we get
I don't want
a
the
new
whole
hope.
thing to just be hopeful because we get a new hope. That's what a new hope is. But I also kind of just looking at both sides, of the coin, I guess it is like you're saying is Obi-Wan is I don't think that quote is saying that the whole series is just a hopeful series.
No.
I think it's what she might be referring to is just the ending.
Yeah.
As in the whole series could be pretty bleak. We see Obi-Wan is pretty rough spot throughout the whole time. And it's like you said, Obi-Wan himself is trying to get that hope back. And that's where we kind of lead is him. That's where we kind of end this series is him remembering this is hope for the galaxy is through Luke, through Leia. And that's where we go with it. It's not just her saying, oh, well, the whole show needs to be way more hopeful.
No.
I think it's just like, for instance, The Last Jedi, I would say is ends with literally the spark of hope.
That's right.
That's how the whole thing ends. I would also say it's the most rough of any Star Wars movie.
We
see Luke at the roughest
state.
Too.
Right.
So even though it starts that way, it also ends on like the most hopeful of like any of them really, because we see Luke realizing and changing and saying, Rey is not the last, or I'm not the last Jedi. So the whole thing led to hope, even though the whole movie until the end was
it makes
very
The Last
rough.
Jedi closer to the heart of George Lucas than any. Because George Lucas has said in interview after interview, the purpose for Star Wars is to tell you a story that gives you hope.
So that's the one consistent.
That's the thing that he wants to tell. That's the
and that's what he told Disney when he
Ryan
sold.
Johnson
he said,
didn't tell it any better than anybody.
And that's what he told Disney. He said, no matter what you do, always remember the message is to provide hope for kids.
And that's rewriting the script.
Yeah.
Anybody who's involved.
I don't think they will ever do a project that's not hopeful.
I saw someone even
end with hope.
A spark.
Yeah.
I saw someone even share the fun facts on Twitter this week of that classic end shot in Empire. Luke, Leia, and they're looking out of the ship right there.
Yeah.
Was added because they thought that the ending was too down, and they needed one. Even they said, even though this was a dark, because especially at the time, this is dark. The first one they win, medal ceremony. We think we've defeated the Empire. The second, then you find out, oh no, they won one battle, but they didn't defeat Darth Vader. In fact, they're in a worse shape than they were before because now they're pinned down. The rebel base, they're getting attacked on Hoth. All this stuff. Luke finds out that his dad's the worst person in the galaxy, and he gets his hand chopped off. And Han is turned into a frozen block of ice.
Carbonite,
frozen carbonite. That all happens, and they're like, it could have ended with that, but they're like, no, we all felt that even amongst this movie, it had to end with the looking out at the stars. Okay, well, guess what? We've been knocked down. What do? Lando, we're going to get Han now. We're gonna go get him.
We'll meet you at the rendezvous point.
We'll meet you at the rendezvous point.
Right.
And even stuff like that. That's what I think this show is gonna be. In, like you were just touching on, is A New Hope. Luke is a new hope for the galaxy.
Yes.
I don't expect that Obi-Wan is going to spark a giant, ignite a giant spark of hope for the galaxy in this show.
No, I think
he just needs
it's inward
to get the hope to remain faithful to the cause of Luke being the hope.
Yeah.
That there is any hope for him, not that the galaxy, because what Obi-Wan is feeling internally. The galaxy's experienced a giant thing too, but what he's dealing with internally is not what the whole galaxy's feeling.
Yeah.
The whole galaxy isn't feeling guilty that they let Vader become. The galaxy doesn't know what's how all this happened.
His whole point right now is, what more can I do? I just spent my whole life training Anakin.
He feels so
if
down.
I can't do anything now. I mean, what?
And how do I do it better?
Watching,
How do I fix?
And anyone who's like we talked about too, I think that the trailer just shows anyone who reads that quote and thinks like, oh dang, this is going to be a show that's just whoopee. That's not going to be the show. I don't think it is at all.
I think it will be very.
I think it's going to be very dark. I think that there's going to be, but like it should, there's also going to be. This is not just a show of watching just continuous murder after murder. That's not the show Star Wars is ever wanting to put out. But it is going to be the internal struggle of him feeling all of the guilt of everything that happened. It being a dark time. We saw possible hanging in the streets in the trailer. And there's going to be a confrontation with him and Vader, and we already know that he's not going to be able to turn him in that.
Right.
We also know that neither of them die in this confrontation.
Right.
But throughout all that, I do think that it's going to end, because at least where we see old Ben, like we said, where we see old Ben in
He's a little more optimistic.
He is. He's a recluse. He's doing all this stuff. He doesn't go out, but it's because he doesn't care that everyone's calling him names now, and he's this hermit out in the desert. Because it's like, I have more clarity than ever about this is the path. This is the will of the Force. This is what I need to do. This I gotta protect Luke, even at the expense of his uncle being upset with me occasionally, people calling me crazy, and me literally having no friends. Nobody by my side. I got to do this because this is what we need to do. So I think that, like you said, I think we're going to have the transition to get to that old Ben state of mind in the show, and I just think that is what's the hope is going to be him getting to that point. That's what's going to feel hopeful. But the whole rest of the galaxy won't know it until the acts of Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. That's right.
That's also another reason why I'm so excited about it being a series. Because they can have episodes that don't end hopeful.
Right.
That doesn't mean the whole story doesn't.
Nope.
You can have an episode that ends and you're like, well, how do you get out of this? Or
In fact,
what just happened?
I'll go even farther. You can't be courageous unless you're afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't have hope unless there's despair.
Sure.
Because you don't need hope.
Yeah.
If everything's fine, I don't really need hope. I only really need hope when things are bad.
Yeah.
That's when hope shines. If everything's happy, you're not only thinking about hope.
Rogue One. Perfect example.
You're not only thinking about hope. It's like, everything's great. What am I hoping for? It's all right here. It's only when things aren't right that you need hope. So
rebellions are built on
hope. That's right.
One of my favorite Star Wars quotes comes from the promo, the trailer for Revenge of the Sith, for Rise of Skywalker. Confronting fear. It's the destiny of a Jedi.
Yeah.
He's talking to it. That's the whole thing.
He's not saying you shouldn't be afraid.
You shouldn't be afraid.
No.
And that's
also courage. That's what courage is.
Where he has kind of maybe evolved and learned from the fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Yes, if you let fear consume you.
That's right.
If you let fear control what you're doing, that creates unhealthy attachments.
If you face it head
which
on.
then causes you to not fight for people, but you're fighting for yourself because because Anakin doesn't want to lose Padme because of the effects he'll have on him.
Yep.
Instead of having loved one, having friends and family, and having the healthy amount of balance of that I do have fear of losing them just because I care about them.
Right.
Not because of the effect on me.
Yeah.
And that healthy balance of doesn't mean I can't be afraid. Yoda, Luke says, I'm while Yoda also tells him about fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and he says all this stuff, he then says in the one conversation, he says, I'm not afraid, and he says, you will be.
You will be.
You will be. He does this whole thing.
That's right. I suppose he said fear leads to right.
Yeah. Yoda, you're confusing. Talking riddles, I do. But so I think that we're going to get a lot of that of Obi-Wan confronting. I mean, Inquisitors are after him.
Right.
Yeah.
And as much as Obi-Wan likes to say in Revenge of the Sith, Sith Lords are a speciality. They haven't had a great track record with Sith Lords,
especially now.
In what way exactly?
So I think it'll be interesting. Just not just interesting, but I can't wait to see that emotional. I think it's just gonna be such a character arc. Even though we already know where he ends up, it's the how does he get there? How does he deal with the turmoil and the guilt?
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it.
Are we gonna like this Obi-Wan? Do you think?
The show, I think it's gonna be terrible.
I mean, are we gonna like this version of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the one we see deliver the child? Are we gonna like this guy who walks down the street and watches people die? Are we gonna be okay with this guy?
You mean, and I say this,
I don't
who's
think
hiding?
Yeah.
You mean, and I say,
I don't
know
think
where
it'll
Uncle's
be
going
that
here,
many.
I'm just curious.
I know where Uncle's going here, and I don't mean to sound snarky. You mean, are we gonna like similar to an old Luke Skywalker who is hiding and who has lost all hope?
There you go.
Right.
Are we gonna like him?
I think it's consistent.
Are we gonna look at him like Yoda? Like, what are you doing here? Come on, why are you out here? Deliver the child. Get back. Let's get these guys back together. Let's evil happening. Because
Yoda just says 900 years have been long enough for me. I'm out.
Right.
Yeah. The rest is on
we
you.
should all versions of
I've done
people
everything
at
I
different-
can. That's led to
at
this.
different
point.
times in their
900 years.
lives, people take and do things where you don't necessarily agree with those choices, right?
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure about. I'm a big fan of current Scottie Pippen, for example.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Just there seems to be some stuff going
Yeah.
on. Like I don't know if I would. I'm not loving that
Yeah.
part.
Uh huh.
I don't know if you're a sports fan. Anyway, you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
yeah,
You know what I mean. Like
Yeah,
we go through
sure.
phases like
Yeah.
certain
Yeah.
people do things like I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Kanye right now, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So it could be that like, are we going to see an Obi-Wan that we're not proud of? That we don't, because we think the Jedi are supposed to just always be. But
Right.
is he going? Is he going to feel? Are they going to give us
Ooh.
an Obi-Wan that feels like a failure? Is he going to do things we're thinking, wow,
The quote.
that's not what I would. He's not. This is not. That's not right.
The Grand Inquisitor.
Are you
Could
saying
you see that?
The
Are you
Grand
s-
Inquisitor says the Jedi code's like an itch. They can't. You can't. Basically, they saying they can't ignore it.
Right.
So let's cause something they can't ignore. What if the first time they do it,
He doesn't.
we have that quote and Obi-Wan doesn't do anything?
He watches it happen.
And then
and
after
turns
that,
away.
then we see him start feeling like, I have to step
It's
in.
tearing
But
him
he
up.
didn't do it the first time.
Because that's what they're doing in the
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
creating havoc to draw Obi-Wan. He's
Draw
going to
up.
watch it all happen, and Owen Lars is going to go, "What is wrong with you? Do you not watch what's going on? How can you let this happen to these people? These are innocent people."
You're the
And
only
Obi-Wan's
one here
going
with
to
the power
say,
to do it.
"I can't because if I do, it draws all the attention to me, and then it draws all the attention to you.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Can we
It's
talk
gonna
about
be
Mm.
it's gonna be hard. I think it's gonna
On
be an
that-
Obi-Wan. We're like, I don't like that guy.
On that note, can we
Wow.
talk about the fact that I love how excited I am to see the other side using the Jedi code against them, and like
Oh, I
to,
know.
to be
Man, it's
thinking
awesome.
in
Coming
this
from someone
to be
who
thinking
was-
in this twisted
Yeah.
but smart way of listen, and then also they're saying stuff now that's right out of the Jedi handbook. The key to hunting a Jedi is patience. When have you ever heard the Sith say patience?
Right.
They're all about power and now and more unlimited power.
Inquisitors.
And now the Inquisitors, though, are saying, like, this is what the Jedi would do. Basically, how do you beat the Jedi at their own game?
Goodness.
You're patient. You lay a trap. And the Jedi, because at their core, if it's us, you'll never catch us. Because I'd watch 1,000,000 planets blow up and I wouldn't,
You wouldn't
I
even
wouldn't
know I was
give
there.
myself up and do all that. But if it's Obi-Wan, if it's any of the Jedi and they're around, their hearts, they cannot take it. They will, because of their Jedi code,
We'll be
their
there.
morality is
coming
going to kick in,
from-
and it's going to be their downfall. And we're just going to lay
Yeah.
the trap and wait.
and coming from
It's
the
just-
Grand Inquisitor or even some of the others that were
Is that
Jedi.
guy with the weird head?
that,
You
that
mean
were
the normal
Jedi.
head, the non-weird
Meaning
head,
normal?
right?
No, yeah, the normal head. That coming from them, especially the Grand Inquisitor, who was a Jedi,
Yeah.
was a Jedi
Was
temple
he a temple
guard.
guard? Yeah.
He was a temple guard, so of course they know
Who knows better?
who knows. Yeah, so now that they've turned and they've joined Anakin, joined Vader.
Well,
Of course
I
they're
went
gonna
like
use that.
this.
Yeah.
Like, why is Vader so evil? Like in Rogue One, why is he so vicious? You know why? I actually believe that every swing of that, with every Force choke, every one of those is Obi-Wan Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Kenobi. Every single time, it's all of the anger, all of the vengeance is all about Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And just instilling fear in
And every
everybody.
time I do it, you can't stop me now. You can't stop me now. I will become the most powerful, and I'm going to do all of it to find you and bring vengeance
You know,
to everything and everyone you love.
Hayden said in that article.
And look at how many. Sorry, real quick, just
Yeah.
touching on that. Look at how many of these people like that did die, and Obi-Wan didn't go.
Didn't do anything.
He didn't go until Leia showed
Nope.
up,
Yeah.
and he realized these are the two. This is my
This is the
calling.
moment.
This is the Force. This is the moment.
They're in. He
There's
also
other people
thought
that died. The rebellion. There were people.
That's
part of
right.
the rebels that have been fighting for I don't know how long now since Rebels. What we saw.
That's
That
right.
have been dying, and Obi-Wan
He,
still.
he also
on
realized
Tatooine.
Leia's in it.
right
She's in it.
yeah.
If
with
I'm not,
Vader
if-
getting
Now
captured.
they're both. Now
if
they're
I'm not
both
in
in
it,
Yeah.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were gonna.
I was gonna say the. I don't know.
no shot.
Nah,
I hate
come
that.
back.
Cut him off and he forgot. What he
Oh,
did.
I got it.
Like, oh yeah. You know, it happens when. No.
Lost it.
Go ahead.
I lost it. No, I'm back. Okay. Just kidding. The
So the-
Hayden. I legitimately lost it the first time. Hayden said in that recent little write up in the article, he was asked about what type of Darth Vader are we gonna get in this, or where's
Oh,
Vader?
yeah,
And,
yeah.
and he said, we will be getting a very powerful Darth Vader in
Yeah.
this. I can assure you. Fans can be assured of that. Just makes me think.
Yeah.
Like,
This will
it
be
is-
Vader at his peak, I feel like.
Man.
This is a Vader who, he's been rebuilt. He's obviously he's in the suit, but he's also at this point you would assume 10 years or so, whatever's passed.
right.
He's had more Sith training. He's had
Yeah.
his time with Palpatine.
Learn how to work in the suit.
Learn how to work in the suit.
Yeah.
Like you
Just-
said, he's already got the Inquisitors. He is also just even though we know that internally there's still some good in him because we know canon wise we know where it ends up
Yeah.
going, but he
Right.
is more fixated on the mission.
Mhm.
Even in the
Yeah.
initial thing, it's like he's got raw emotions when he's talking to Obi-Wan, and he's clearly been deceived when he's talking with Palpatine. He's like, I should have known the Jedi would take over. And he's doing all this stuff to justify.
Right.
Later, it doesn't even feel like Vader would even have those conversations.
No,
it
it's
just
just I
feels
don't
like
care.
because they are the enemy. Like the
Yeah.
Jedi are the enemy. It's not
Right.
because Obi-Wan, you should have known this
It's
happened.
not
to me.
rationally
it's not this
thinking,
rational
no.
thing anymore. It's
No.
just I have been told
dark
the
side
lies
takes
so
over
many
and you're-
times that
yeah.
it takes over, and now all I see is you're a Jedi, you're dead. Either by my hand or I sent out my Inquisitors to get you and kill
Literally
you, or
formed
bring
a
it back
group
to me.
to hunt you down.
It's literally to wipe out everybody. And that just seeing him in that headspace, especially him seeing him confronting or having a confrontation with Obi-Wan in that headspace will be something that
Yeah.
because even later he's even more he's not super angry when he sees old
He's not.
Ben.
He's not.
And I think that's because we get this confrontation we've never seen before that happens in the middle.
I think
That's
I
the
feel
only
like
way
so.
you get to the one where they're both calm when
Mm-hmm.
they fight each other. There's almost like a level of respect in there, which is like in A New Hope. It's this like there's some talk and stuff like that, but it is very much like they just chat. They're fighting. Now again, part of it's because Alec Guinness is
We didn't have
70 years
CGI
old.
to
We didn't
fix
have all this
Right.
stuff.
Riku.
But as far as
Right.
even the dialogue in that,
Right.
it's not a super yelling at each other
Right.
type of a thing because we've already had a confrontation there that we're finally going to get to see.
Mhm.
That seems very more like Charles and Magneto.
There's a little
long
bit like
friends
that. Of
that
we just are on
are-
the other side of this.
We're on the other side. We're
That's
long,
right.
we were
The
friends,
history
but
here.
this is. I mean, we're enemies now.
You're in
but
my
this
way.
has
I'm
to be
going to
this
have
way.
to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's that time. That's the original trilogy. Now we see with Old Ben.
That's what
This
happens
feels
before.
very. You're the worst thing ever. I'm coming for you, man.
Get my lightsaber to my son when he's old enough.
Oh man, I can't wait for this series.
Wow.
It's
I
gonna
can't
be
wait.
crazy.
I don't care what
a
size his head
trailer.
is. I'm on board.
And that music, when Duel of the Fates and Battle of the Heroes both are
Blend.
blended in there,
Do you
is
think
just,
we're getting ready to wind it down? Do you think
love it?
that John Williams will be blending the Force theme
I gotta hear that
with
Force
something new to create an Obi-Wan theme?
theme. Ooh.
Do you think there will be
Ooh.
hints of that? What if he's able to blend hints of Leia's theme with the Force theme to blend in something
make the
that's
Obi-Wan
Because I
a-
didn't know this, but I was listening to
connecting pieces to make an Obi-Wan theme because
Oh,
he's
man.
the tie
Yeah.
that brings those
Wow.
I
together.
guess John Williams has said, because I didn't know this until recently. In the last couple weeks, I was listening to, I think it was the Force Center podcast. They were talking about this. That John Williams has said in the past, going back to A New Hope, that Force theme that everyone fell in love with was initially supposed to be the Obi-Wan Kenobi theme,
Really?
and that then transformed into they felt it was better
As a
served as
bigger-
just a bigger thing of the
Yeah.
Force, because then it served Luke's purpose of looking out at the twin sons, and it wasn't Obi-Wan that he was looking out at. It was this.
That's right.
Right.
But the fact that you're saying that could be tied to an eventual Obi-Wan would just tie back to his initial
Yeah.
purpose for it. Was that was
Yeah.
he initially created that as
I
an
can
Obi-Wan
definitely see
theme.
that.
I could see a variation of that,
Yeah.
Because here's the thing.
which is just maybe my
So,
favorite music in all
bum,
Star Wars.
bum, bum. It's a perfect fourth, and Leia's is da da. That's a sixth. You know that
Mm.
musically.
By the way,
Bum,
Uncle
bum.
is our music expert, and Nate
Yes.
and
There
I
you go.
know nothing.
So it's like the wedding march.
Yes.
Bum 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 bum. That's a perfect fourth. Bum 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 ba da da bum. And then Leia's theme is a major sixth. Bum bum da da. So, what would be the and then the march is a fifth. Da, 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 da. Those are fifths and thirds. So what would they do with what kind of an interval? I'm just thinking. I'll tell you what it is.
Tell us. Write it.
Perfect fourth, major sixth, major thirds. Like dun 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 dun. That's a major third. Dun 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 dun. So that could be,
blend
and then Ray's theme is minor thirds. Dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun dun. That's a minor third. Dun dun dun. That'd be a major third.
Chat.
Here's my guess.
You following?
Here's my thought. Obi-Wan Kenobi theme is built on major thirds.
Ooh.
Joe would like this talk. Joe's
It's
a music man.
hopeful.
Joe,
It's
yeah.
got a hopeful sound. Major thirds are hopeful. There's not a lot of Vader's march is minor thirds. Dun 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 dun.
I'm gonna
dun,
agree with
dun,
you.
dun, dun.
Because I know nothing about
All right,
music.
sorry to bore you. My
I
daughter,
love it.
my daughter said, "What do you think about the theme?" And I was like, "Well, there's I don't know, a million
Well, we know
combinations
that
of those
there's
8
been
tones.
stuff about a Kenobi theme, so
So I'm
makes
I'm
sense.
putting major thirds in there.
we'll revisit this. Will we get
I
that
love
on the
that
first
John-
on the first episode?
Oh man, I don't know.
Do we get Kenobi's theme
Or is
on the
that
first
or is
episode?
that for a more hopeful moment
Yeah.
that we're
I don't
coming
know.
true?
I feel like
don't
we
know.
might
Good.
see it pretty early.
Could be pretty early.
Do we pick up with
I mean,
him
Mando
delivering the
established the
child?
Mando theme
What?
pretty early.
Yeah, really. Do we just start with him on his ship delivering the child? Is that where the show
Well, we did
starts?
The
I think-
rumors are like the reports have been that
Start
there
in
is
the
a
middle.
that they have used some DH
GH stuff.
technology on Hayden Christensen for the show, which
Oh.
essentially confirms that there's going to be some. I mean, and Ewan has now said.
Working with
He even said something this
Anakin.
week about like working with Hayden, and he's standing there, and I'm Obi-Wan, and he's Anakin, and
yeah, that's
he said it just felt like time hadn't passed at all, and he was talking about how just cool it was, but he didn't
he
say
didn't say Darth
he
Vader.
didn't say he's standing there and he's in a suit, which I've never seen him in a Darth
yeah,
Vader
that's
suit
weird.
before.
Somehow I knew it was him.
But I somehow knew it was him, and it felt like nothing had ever
Maybe
changed.
could that be flashbacks?
That's
I'm just
I'm-
wondering
that's what
where
I'm
we
thinking
where
is
we
the
start.
flashbacks.
I'm
Do we?
thinking there's going to be some flashbacks.
Because the
Clone Wars
Star Wars
flashbacks.
mentality is to start in the middle of the story
Just
a
pick
lot.
it up. Yeah.
But
That's the
I don't. I
George.
feel like we already started in the middle. The middle of the story is him delivering the child.
Mm.
That's the middle of the story. It's the end of 3. He's picking it right up.
We are just 2.5 months away from the first episode. of
Man.
this.
I don't know.
That's like what? 10 casts? 12 podcasts? I don't know. I don't remember.
We measure
Just a
time based on
podcast.
podcasts.
Yeah, exactly.
We are 10 casts away. Casts away.
Castaway. By the way, that's a great lead in to
Yeah.
our guest on the show next week. Big Star Wars fan is Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks is coming on.
Our new thing is just gonna be we're gonna announce big cast members.
It never come through.
It's similar to like Jimmy Kimmel's bit of like apologies to Matt Damon, we ran out of time. How he just always says that
Yeah,
Matt Damon
right,
was
right.
on the
We
show.
just always have someone
We'll
new.
but it'll always be someone huge.
Right.
Like, whoa,
Right.
this is not even a joke. The following week we have Steven Spielberg coming on the show.
That was the.
Yeah.
That was the.
They're not going to believe it now because you threw the Hanks joke
I know.
out.
I thought that Hanks is so small, Spielberg's so big.
It would just be a good lead-in. Well, I thought what would be
I
great.
thought Hanks is that. I thought that people would think that Hanks was reachable. That for
Maybe during COVID. Not now. He's out doing stuff. He's doing Finch and stuff now.
right.
So we could.
And
I'm just fast forwarding
to
to.
hit on that joke. Hanks, not that it's funny, but Hanks actually was one of the first people that got COVID. So you're saying that while he was in COVID was our
Caused
best
it.
chance to get him. Because
Yeah.
that was just at
He-
his
he-
weakest moment. He might have agreed to a podcast that he in
Oh,
his
oh.
right mind wouldn't have done.
Obi-Wan to the fall of everything is Hanks to COVID. He brought it in. He ushered it in. Now I was picturing like a couple weeks from now, like, yeah, sorry, Tom Hanks couldn't be here. Instead, we have Wilson made it to the podcast.
Wilson, what do you think
Wilson.
about the? Really? You think the head is misshapen?
Okay.
Interesting, coming from
Okay.
a soccer ball. It looks like Wilson.
It does a little bit. That's a W. Oh, I didn't see that before.
There's a W.
Oh man, that's
Oh,
great.
man.
We got from
Wilson
Spielberg to
That's a-
Wilson to Tom Hanks to COVID, all in one little.
bit.
But we didn't call anybody morons, so we're getting better.
Nate, give us a quick moron before we get out of here.
More on that topic.
Moron.
Let's talk about. That's
Yeah.
bad.
No, that's great.
Yeah. Hey, can't wait.
I know we're gonna
Can't
have to,
wait.
but it's gonna be hard.
I won't. I'll get the footage and you'll see it here first on
Kathy will
Star
make
Wars
you
Cast.
watch it, give you a review.
Fine.
Yeah.
She said, "Hey, I loved the cast." I'm sorry that Tom Hanks canceled on you guys, but
Heard
here's
about
the footage to
Heard
make you
about the
feel
Hanks
better.
cancel.
Does that to me all the time.
Here's
Heard about
the
Tom
footage.
Hanks canceling.
Also,
Here's the footage.
Also, kudos on the Spielberg the Spielberg booking.
Wilson
Thanks,
had a
Kathy.
great input.
With
Yeah.
Kathy, we know you're close with Spielberg, so
What is
you're
the-
welcome
what-
anytime.
What is today? Today is because it happens all the time when
Say
people are.
13th.
Today is the 13th. I remember this story about when Jim Carrey got started. Right, one of the first things he did when Jim Carrey got started is he wrote himself a check for $20 million. It's one of the first thing he did because he
As one
said,
does.
"There's going to be a day when somebody gives me a check for $20 million." And when his dad died, he was already a celebrity. He put that check in his dad's casket. That was kind of the thing. I want to state it on this podcast. We will, at some point, have an interview with Kathy Kennedy, and we will tell her that on March the 13th, 2022, we said that someday we would have a meeting with you and thank you for everything you've done.
Yes,
That will happen.
That's it. You heard it here first.
Right in the check.
I love
It's
it. Right in
live.
the
It's on the cast, and will forever be on the
visual
channel.
check. And
There you go.
Kathy, if you ever do listen to this podcast, you'll know that we are very pro Kathy on this. on
Huge
this
fans.
show.
Huge fans.
We are.
Oh yeah.
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 We are not
I
pro
love it.
moron though.
No, let's make that clear.
We are not. Unless you're a subscriber. Then
Unless you're a subscriber, then we bash us away. Star Wars, us personally.
Bring it.
Bring it on.
Make fun of us all you want. Kathy?
Yeah.
Not a
Hey,
chance.
nobody messes with my Kathy.
Right.
My Kathy.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Not
I
my
love
Kathy.
it.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
Wait,
That's
is that our next
fantastic.
shirt? No, you didn't. On the back. Not my Kathy.
Kathy's face with a wink. Oh, no, you didn't.
But
Oh,
it's
this
the
merchandise
Kenobi-
is gonna
It's
fly
the
off the
Kenobi
shelf.
wave, though.
It is. Oh, no, you didn't.
This merchandise is gonna fly off the shelves. I love it. No, you
we
didn't.
actually made all these into shirts. That'd be
This is
fantastic.
I don't think
Oh,
Kathy's
my goodness.
image is trademarked.
No,
Find out.
we'll trademark it.
The
I
mouse
love it.
gives us a call. We'll know.
The mouse says, "We own Kathy." Can't use her image. Oh my
Fantastic.
goodness.
I think we should have
man.
Ann Morrow and the guy from the Goldbergs on our shirts, too. From the commercial for the,
From the Star
Star
Cruiser. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh boy, a real lightsaber.
the reviews are coming in for that are rave, man.
I saw it.
They're loving it.
I've
Yeah.
watched some videos of it.
Yeah.
Some people on TikTok
I
have
think
actually
it's better
shown
than the
their.
commercial.
I just think that was
Yeah.
just a bad marketing
Yeah,
video,
yeah,
which
yeah.
which was what
I
we
agree.
had predicted at the time too. Was like, listen, I don't
There's more
see
here.
them missing on this that badly. I
No.
think that it was just whoever was in charge of the marketing probably thought this seems. We just and again to us, our only critique was that it just seemed kind of generic
Right.
star stuff, generic
Right.
space stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everyone who's stayed there said
Actually
also
did
said
it.
the food was. They said it's like unlimited food.
Yeah.
They've shown the actual like quarters you stay in looks so
Oh my
cool.
gosh. The quarters
Interaction
are
with
sweet.
Interaction, they said was
with,
great.
with actual like
Right.
Yeah,
They said
canon
it takes
characters.
the whole Galaxy's Edge like integrated into Star Wars to the
Yeah.
next level.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
yeah.
awesome.
it's
All
gonna
right,
be
well.
great.
Yeah. So if you haven't
Well.
seen it, go watch some of those videos. Those are
Yeah.
cool videos of their
Oh, yeah.
experience there. But
Yeah.
yeah, can't wait for the show. Anything else? Kenobi
Kenobi?
trailer
Can't-
breakdown.
Kenobi. I just can't wait. I just can't. Oh, one more thing. The fact that this was officially on Star Wars called a teaser trailer
Yes.
means
means I believe we will get one full trailer before the show comes out. I
Which
don't think this
means-
is the last.
at least, yeah.
I don't want to be the first one.
Yeah,
Well, I'll
maybe
be the
more.
first
We'll
one to
probably
say.
get some TV spots and stuff, but I think that
Right,
we'll get a
one
one full
full-
trailer,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll get just like Boba Fett then had some of the TV
Yeah.
spots there,
Yes.
30 seconds of new footage and stuff. I
A
think
lot
we'll
of
get,
overlapping footage, but
and
then
we
some
got
new
no
stuff.
footage
Yeah.
of Hayden yet. We had a
Yeah.
picture that came
Not
out.
even Darth Vader. Well, we had
But
the
no-
picture that came out. Of
We had the
Vader,
picture, but no footage in the trailer, just
Yeah.
the breathing, which I think they don't need to show him in the.
No.
They don't need to show him. They've been very upfront about. They're not trying to hide him.
Right.
I
Right.
think that when he does even a glimpse
They
or
want to
even
save it.
the cape or anything like that in the full trailer, I think people are gonna lose their minds.
Yeah.
Man.
Or just I don't know how much they want to show, but if they showed actual Hayden, like
Can you imagine?
as Anakin, just immediately 100 million views on this trailer.
Man.
Crazy.
Can't wait.
Amazing. There
Can't
you
wait.
have it. Which, of course, you can look forward to another trailer reaction for that when that comes out.
Yeah.
We'll definitely
I'll be
keep
looking
those
forward
up.
to it.
Definitely keep those up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be fun.
I'll be watching that trailer with great interest.
I like it. There you go.
Yeah.
So there it is. Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer breakdown. Obviously, we dove a little deeper into some more talks now that we've seen some footage from the show. We had to take our predictions of what we did when we did, our Obi-Wan prediction episode, but now take it to the next level now that we've seen some actual footage and elaborate on a lot of that stuff. So let us know what you guys thought of the trailer. Let us know what you thought of the Inquisitor's head. We want to know.
Let us.
Let us know your thoughts. We
Pepsi
appreciate
okay?
you all tuning in.
Just remember, Pepsi's okay.
Pepsi's okay. Pepsi's okay. From time to time. Not all the time. From
This
time to
free
time.
cake, is it chocolate? It was free.
What are you doing?
don't
Who is
know.
that? Is
I
it
don't-
chocolate?
Is it chocolate?
I have no idea.
Want a cup of chocolate juice?
Kind of a combo of Marty McFly.
It is.
Mixed with
It was.
it's chocolate, Marty.
Good stuff, Marty. It's chocolate.
Is this chocolate?
Mayor. Like the sound of that.
Mayor Domo. No.
Oh.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Hey,
my
thanks for tuning
gosh.
in. Don't forget to like the video. Share it with some friends. Force family. We appreciate it. And you can always find us on Instagram as well. That's at Star Wars Guys Pod on Instagram. Message us there or drop your comments on the video. We'll see you all in the next one. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Not my Kathy. No, you didn't. Want a cup of chocolate juice?
Marty.
Doc, you telling me that